Hello and welcome back to Blackfeather Guild. Today we've got our second episode of the Void Cavalcade, which is titled Plan B, as in honeybee. It's going to be pretty fun. I'm looking forward to this. But before I take it over to the cast, I wanted to talk a little bit about viewer actions, how you can actually get involved in the game yourself from the audience. So there's a few different ways to do that. One of the easiest ways to do it is through the game tweet, which you'll see there in chat. Maybe. Oh, the bot was... okay, I'll have to fix that. But if you go to my Twitter, which is at the RAVVYN, at the Raven, you will be able to find the latest tweet. For every 10 interactions on that, that's likes, retweets, and comments, we'll give a D4 to the cast pool and one to the DM pool as well. So that's a really easy way to do that. Another way that you can interact with the game is guild coins. You can see the information for that over here. Mostly that's used for plot points, which you can use to influence what's going on in the game here and there. Anything from an inconsequential change to a major plot effect, if you get all the way up to 4 plot points. The full details for that are in the panels down below, or you can click on the little rainbow colored icon below your Twitch chat box and just click on everything individually and it'll have a full explanation as well. Finally, for donations, you can go through coffee.com/raven, raven.rocks, subscriptions, bits, or for our Bard tier and higher patrons on patreon.com/theravenevermore. You'll get different credits towards viewer actions every month through that as well. But most of these are pretty self-explanatory, but a couple of them that might not be. The switch basically lets another player, including the DM, change the action word of something somebody's about to do. So to use a classic example, let's say that somebody's playing a bard and they want to seduce the dragon, as tends to be the cliche. The DM or another player could be like, I really don't want to see this again, and throw out a switch and make the bard change their action word, seduce, to something that's non-synonymous. It's a fun way to nudge the story in different directions. And advantage and rerolls means roll twice, take the higher of the 2 options. The only difference between the two is advantage has to be called before the roll, whereas a reroll can be called after the fact. So the reroll is a little bit more powerful. Complication is a lot like the plot points. You can type in 1 to 3 sentences of what you'd like to see added or changed, added to, changed about, or removed from the scene that's happening. Much like the plot points, the DM does have final say on what actually gets put in. So some of the suggestions might get edited a little bit to make it fit better to what's going on. But for the most part, we try to stick as close as possible to your suggestion. And then finally, swap 2 players for 5 minutes. That means that our players, including the DM, whichever 2 are chosen, will swap characters. So if the DM ends up playing somebody else's character, then that player will end up DMing for 5 minutes. So it's a really funny thing that happens, and it's really entertaining to see everybody try to play each other's characters as well as their creators do. But that lasts for 5 minutes. And then finally, the 1-up is essentially a safety net. If somebody would go to 0 hit points or die or whatever the system has in place for character death, rather than doing that, they come back with 1 hit point or whatever the system equivalent would be. So it doesn't completely get them out of danger, but it does give that player another chance to save their character. So if you have a cast member's character or anything like that that you particularly want to help, that is a great way to do it. I think that about covers everything. So with that, I'm going to pass everything off over to Jay. We're going to go meet the cast, and I will see you all after the game.
Everybody, welcome back to the Void Cavalcade. We are on episode 2 with the rest of the cast, and we're kind of in the middle of a bit of a situation. Last time we had the party infiltrate the starport as guards in various ways, and let's say shenanigans is the least of their troubles. They miraculously avoided any serious injury or plight, but by the time they got back to their safe house, it turns out there was something else happening behind the scenes. So without further ado, let's introduce the cast. Let's start out with, just need to see who's where. let's go round table from. Let's start with Econorlax. Tell us who you are, where we can see you next. You know the drill. I'm a little off my game.
Hello, everybody. I'm Econorlax. You can find me here playing games, as we established recently, under various names of the games, not me. I'm always Econorlax. And you can find me under this name on Twitter, too. I'm playing Mips. Mips is very curious alien being. Mips loves to learn new things about new species, new cultures, and new... everything is new for Mips, because Mips is alien to this part of space.
Perfect. Polished, how about you next?
Hi, I am Polished, or also known as Polished Scripted. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter under those names. Today I am playing Autumn, who is one step away from being a sentient birch tree.
That might be the best description I've heard yet. Darkora, why don't you lead us?
Hi, I'm Darkora. I don't really do a lot on Twitch. You can find me on Twitch at Darkora. You can also find me more active on Twitter at Darkora with an underscore. Tonight I'll be playing Eva Maddock, human engineer. Like fixing things.
Right on. And Chabi?
I am Chabi. You can find me here as Hallway Secrets. You can find me on Twitter as Hallway7 Secrets. I am playing Willem Sizer. He's a young, aspiring pilot. Well, not aspiring. He's pretty good at it. He just hasn't had much chance yet. Yeah, that's it. That's me.
And Jem, round us off.
Hello, my name is Jem. You can find me on YouTube, and now we're playing as Luna, a very interesting bee person who also wants to know if you like jazz.
Okay, I'm interested to see where that's going to go.
You like jazz?
You like jazz. I just want to start this whole campaign. I want Luna to say that to someone like as a distract. Like, you like jazz?
Are we talking jazz
Question.
hands?
Not like the lean on the counter. Like, you like jazz?
Oh, nice. Go ahead, Darkora.
How many sets of arms does Luna have? Like, can you do like 6 jazz hands?
They have 2 sets of arms and like 2 legs. So like because
So you can do 4 jazz hands.
Yeah, 4 jazz hands. Because
Twice the
That's
distance.
nice. That would certainly surprise me.
So when last we met you, you had infiltrated the starport. You'd kind of run around, gotten the lay of the land a little bit, and realized that the starport was a lot better armed than you thought it might have been. So you're retreated back to the safe house after successfully exfiltrating. And by the time you got back there, Tolis, your big Trivian friend, who for those who don't remember is a 6-legged lizard-like being, burst into the safe house and said, "We've got trouble. We got made. They know about at least one of us. It's Luna. Is that right? Was that the name?"
Mm-hmm.
So they got big billboards now of Luna from some footage that they got. Yeah.
Fuck.
It's pretty clear that it's well, it may not be you, but it's definitely a bee person. Beedrin? Sorry.
Yeah, Beedrin.
Beedrin. Yeah, it's pretty clear. I think they got it from the elevator cameras.
Could you check that on the net, my friends? We need to see.
Yeah, for sure. And Tolis pulls up a little pad. The rest of the crew is kind of gathered around. Can we, while we're doing this, can we just go around and kind of describe what we all look like? What we kind of wearing, appearance, everything like that. Introduce yourselves a bit so we know who you are.
Who would you like to start?
Let's go the other way around. Sorry, I'm definitely short-circuiting a bit today. Jem, why don't you start us off?
Well, Luna is a 6 foot tall kind of anthropomorphic bee. They wear kind of like a dress / robe on, and they have like a little backpack on their back. Have two giant bee wings that allow them to take flight. They have like a giant bee butt stinger on her backside. Two pairs of arms, but two of them are replaced with prosthetic robotic because of accidents that happened in the past. And they have two antennas. Also, they're very fluffy.
Kind of more like a honeybee, if anything.
Yeah, kind of like a honeybee.
Okay. Chabi.
Buzzy. So Willem is on the young side, like late teens. Slim build. He's got. You can tell he's wearing like a flight suit with a gray like bomber jacket over top. He's got dusty brown hair, and his eyes are like a bright blue. That's
And human, right?
yes, human. Sorry,
Human? Okay.
Yeah.
Just so I'm clear. Darkora.
Eva is a human female, kind of medium height, not particularly tall, kind of slim, athletic-ish build, kind of green eyes, auburn hair, wears very, very grubby overalls that don't look like they've been cleaned of the engine grease in a long time. Usually has a toolkit with her somewhere, pale skin, has the kind of bearing of someone who is used to having orders followed in a previous life.
Ooh, okay. Clearly knows what she's doing, that kind of thing.
Yeah, usually knows what she's doing, yeah.
Gotcha.
And knows how to fake it if she doesn't.
Nice. Polished.
Well, Autumn is humanoid. She's of average height and a slender build, but effectively her skin is bark, is the best way to describe it. So she has this sort of white skin with the black stripes that you would see on birch trees, and where her eyebrows and joints would be, that's where the bark is sort of cracking slightly.
Nice.
And her hair's just a series of branches with autumn-colored, so orangey birch leaves on them.
All right. And Econorlax.
Mips is also humanoid in shape and form. He is essentially a big, round tummy with very stubby legs, but very long arms. So Mips' arms reach almost to the floor. On the head is just a round blob with big black eyes and no features apart that. There's voice box on Mips' face because Mips uses this technology to generate Mips' voice, and Mips is green and gray.
Nice.
Mostly
Okay.
green with some gray patterns on Mips' skin.
Cool. And I'll detail your crew as well, the remaining crew that you have from this this big job you've been pulling. So you know Tolis already. That's a Trivian. And for those that don't know, think like Randall from Monsters, Inc., kind of that 6-footed lizard design. He doesn't wear any clothing per se, but he does have a few like bandoliers and pouches and things like that. And he's wearing a hat of some kind. It looks like a weird mix between a beret and a construction hat. You're not sure if it has any real use, but it's definitely notable. Then you have, let me find it here. You have Tychus, who is a Jintai. And they kind of look like the cross between a hammerhead shark as a head and then a strange sort of crustacean body leaning down. Those of you who might have met one before, you know that they're a species that's in two parts. So the head and the body are like two different parts almost. Tychus is wearing a very like tight-fitting tunic and almost like sort of like combat pants, but they look more like a surveyor's outfit. And he has got a bunch of different pouches and bandoliers and is kind of studiously just taking notes the entire time. You also see, where are you? Yurt, who is an Arcadian, and they are your tech specialist. The Arcadians are gas creatures, and they live inside kind of large bulbous suits. They can inflate the arms out so they can actually interact with the world, but for the most part, they are just a large blob with a small viewport to see the gas inside. This particular Arcadian is, we'll say, like a deep green, which is a rare color. You also have 2 humans with you, Fret and Warren, who are kind of more diplomatic. They're people, so they say. And they're the ones who end up contacting the locals. So they're the in-between for getting the safe house, getting layouts for the starport, helping you arrange your little safety demonstration you had at the start, as well as figuring out where you can get other resources. So they're all present with you. I think that's everybody. Yeah. So you have 5 other crew.
5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in total, you're a crew of 10. 10?
Yeah.
Yes. Numbers are hard this morning. So yeah, you know that the safe house is pretty safe as it is. Like there's soundproofing on all the walls. It's in a bit of an underground sunken part of the building. So they've got a whole layout of, there's the starport in terms of like almost like an outline, like a big kind of, here's all the little working parts of the starport. Up on one of the walls, you've got, I just lost the name already, Yurt working at one of the consoles in the corner of the room. And yeah, Tolis has just kind of burst in and told you that you've been made, or at least one of you has.
Is there any footage linking him to the rest of us?
Not that I saw. I mean, I haven't seen the footage, but Yurt kind of pipes up like, no, nothing there. Nothing on the net about anything like that. But it does show Luna. And Tolis kind of shifts from one set of 3 feet to the other, a little nervously, kind of looks back and forth like, sir, I don't mean to be rude. But what do you do, Luna? Just so, because you're the newest kind of addition. Like I know them sort of well, but what do you do?
I'm some sort of an artist.
Oh, right. You said you were, yeah. You're an artsy bee.
Yeah.
There was something else, though, wasn't there?
I have one other skill, but I don't think you guys want to know.
Is it making honey? Because we knew about that one.
No, that's something else.
With all due respect, I think now might be the time.
Yeah, now would be a
tell.
good time to know.
All right, I'm one hell of a marksman, aka I'm a really good sniper.
Phew, okay.
Okay, that, yeah.
But even
that's-
worse. That sounds more useful than dangerous than
Yeah.
scary.
Okay, marksman, fine.
That's probably good because I don't think you can go back in there with us.
Unless we do some kind of makeover. And I don't think the series is ready for like a Pretty Woman shopping montage just yet.
Montage.
Always
I
time
love
for a
how
pretty
that's the
montage.
most recent shopping montage you remember
Yeah.
from film history.
That is very specific. I like it. So your pipes up again. So I had a Scottish accent. I don't know where it went, but it's left. So Yurt goes, oh, Willem, we took that data you hacked when we were in the starport, and there was some more stuff in there. So they bring out, kind of lay it out on the main table. There were personnel files that were pulled as well. And one of the personnel files is Rekus.
Ooh.
Okay.
So on Rekus's personnel file, a lot of it seems to be either classified or corrupted, but you see a few interesting things on there. First off, Rekus has been on this planet since before they quote unquote reincarnated. For quick primer, hawks, when they die of natural causes, shrivel up, and then there's a ceremony to rehydrate them, which essentially reformats their personality.
Oh, okay.
So
so they get rebooted as a different
basically,
one. Okay.
yeah. It's like a functional immortality. So
Okay.
Rekis was here before they were Rekis, per se, because they choose a new name when they're reborn. So
Interesting.
they may well have been a different person, and they may well not have been quite the despot that they've turned into.
Mhm.
A couple other things on there. You note that they have a ongoing health condition wherein they are susceptible to basically any kind of atmospheric change. So a lot of the rooms within the top levels of the starport are atmosphere controlled to allow Rekis proper like breathing and living. Another thing you note is Rekis has been in talks with basically every business person on this planet in terms of either getting them in or hushing them up. So there's a lot in there about kind of trade deals that have gone bad, trade deals that have gone through. You don't see a lot of specific names, a lot of that's been redacted, but you see a lot of people that Rekis has either bribed, gotten rid of, or taken in. And one of those names is Golm. You also have a file on her. Golm is one of the main, let's say, proprietors of the Wonder ceramic that they're trying to sell. And she has been she's the one you actually learned was in meetings in the VIP kind of area of the starport with Rekis. And she is, you don't get a lot about her, but you learn that she's had dealings with Rekis in the past before they died and reincarnated. So clearly there's something there. As well, Yurt managed to pull some schematics for the starport. So you have access to a rough schematic. It doesn't give you tons of detail, but it gives you a basic outline of where are, most rooms, where are the doors, elevators, things like that. It also shows you where the emergency, not exits, but the emergency bits, basically. So like fire suppression, alarms, where the security controls are, things like that.
Okay.
We know anyone who's been hushed?
That's a good question. Let me roll something really quick here. You do, but it's someone you're well familiar with. It is, let me find their name. It's the same person you bought the guard uniforms from, a Arcadian by the name of Boshti.
Luna, you spoke to this person before, right?
I think so.
Well, perhaps it is worth you talking to them again, especially if we can't send you into the main building, figure out a bit more about what Rekis is like.
All right, well,
the procedures to get into, like how do they screen the VIPs? What do they go through?
Mm-hmm.
Assuming they've been in there, I could be wrong.
We maybe need to disguise Luna a bit if they're going to go out in the world.
You paint yourself, right?
Yes, I am.
Assuming you don't go into the building itself, that could hopefully be enough for being in public, especially without the uniform.
I think that could work.
I mean, it's either that or you wait here.
Or find a desolate rooftop. Jintai chips in. So I'll give you the rundown on what your crew does as well. You know that Yurt is your tech specialist. Tolis is kind of your everyman. He kind of just fills in whatever role isn't filled.
Oh, he's kind of the fixer.
Basically,
almost.
Yeah. Fret and Wirin are your diplomats, so they're your people.
Yeah.
But Jintai, it turns out, is actually a architectural demolitionist, is how he describes it.
Okay.
What he does is he assesses structures for weaknesses and then uses those weaknesses to bring the building down without serious issue.
Okay.
but he knows he points out on the layout, the schematic that you found, he
Mhm.
points out a few spots that are either under construction or have serious structural kind of problems with them. So there's a few spots it's about halfway up the starport. There's a few spots that have clearly been sloppily covered over with tarping and other kind of faux like plating to make it look like it's solid, but it's clear that there's way more stress here. It's basically an open window with a blind
Over it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on top, there used to be a helipad. A helipad, a landing pad. But that is currently being retrofitted. So there is an exit to the roof, but there is no landing pad per se. It's kind of just a mishmash of materials right now. Aside from that, you do know that there are a lot of flammable materials within. You saw a lot of plants on the ground floor. And that is, I mean, if you want to talk weaknesses, that is a major weakness of that building.
Okay. See, I'm wondering if it would be too much hassle to get into the atmospheric controls and basically flush him out of of his nice climate controlled bolt hole.
I don't like the idea of setting a lot of plants on fire. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd also rather fake a fire than set one.
Yeah, agreed.
Fair enough.
Like, even if we could, as part of the hacking into it, like make the system think there's a fire somewhere, not necessarily actually set one, because the fires have a tendency to catch innocents. So I'm definitely out of that idea.
I was thinking if we can find some sort of synthetic agent or something that we could actually release up there, because otherwise they might recognize it's a system error. So something that would be harmless to most people, but we know that Rekkers is extremely sensitive to it.
Okay, maybe we could put something in the air conditioning.
Yeah,
give him a bad time.
Could be. Polish, can you roll me a? Let's see what the skills are again. I think this is just going to be a no check.
Okay.
I would say with int or with wisdom, whichever.
8.
8, yeah. You know that there is a readily accessible kind of agent like that. It's like an airborne version of smelling salts, but in the other way. So it tends to cause drowsiness and kind of like a staggering effect in people. And it's an aerosolant.
Okay.
So you think you could probably find that on this planet somewhere?
So if we get some of that and then get ourselves, those of us that need to breathe, I'm uncertain on everyone, get ourselves like breather masks of some description.
You do have one atmospheric filter as well.
We do have one atmospheric filter. Get some more of those.
I can last a while without air, but not
indefinitely.
Yeah.
What was the Gentai's name again?
That was their name. Or was it? No, Tychus.
No, Gentai's the race.
I actually, I said, oops. It's been a morning, folks. Tychus.
Tychus, okay. So I will actually turn, hey, Tychus, is there, have you found the intake, like the air intake? There's always, like for all ventilation systems, there's always the air intake. So that would probably be our point in for the fairy dust.
Yep. So if you look around the base, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're kind of like crab-like claw just kind of keeps going through the hologram. It's a little hard to tell where they're pointing. 9 intake valves. So if you look here, that's the biggest one, and then the rest are all roughly equidistant. That's actually up to code, surprisingly. This thing's ancient. It's falling apart. But yeah, there's about 9 spots. So if you did at least 4 of them, you should get a nice coverage throughout the building.
Okay.
Right.
Sounds like a reasonable prospect.
You also know that they're not super well guarded because they're tiny. Like they're little, probably about 4-inch by 5-inch vents on the outside. They're very powerful, but they're very tiny, so they don't need to guard them.
What sort of areas are they in? Like, would we? Because we have access to the hangar.
Yeah. There's two by the hangar, I would say. Two kind of on where the landing pad stretches out over a small gorge. There are two kind of kitty corner on either side of that exit. And then the rest of them, a few of them are kind of by the entrance, the main entrance you came in the first time. One is by where Luna went in the back door. And what is that, 4, 6? So the other 3 are kind of around the backside, which is public, quote unquote, but it is still guarded. There's still patrols that kind of go along that street.
Okay.
So that's how we get him out of safety.
Yeah.
Now how do we get to them?
Well, if they're taking them out of the building, the best way is either through one of the exits or trying to get them off the planet, or at least into the atmosphere, in which case it's going to be the hangar. And if there's an atmospheric problem, they're probably going to go for the closest one.
Your pipes up again. So that data you took off, there was an extra evac plan in there. If there's an atmospheric failure, they go straight through an access elevator down to the hangar. And if that's not working, then they'll go straight to the roof and then request pickup via the hangar.
So in that case, we have 2 options. If we want to take this person alive, the hangar is the best bet. Otherwise, Luna, you mentioned you have a very specific set of talents.
I can see an option C where we let them go out onto the roof and call for evac.
And
then we turn up and
then be
evac
the
them.
evac.
Yeah.
That plan means I get to fly. I vote that.
That means you get to fly. Yeah, this is what I'm thinking.
A and C means you get to fly.
I mean, I think I can be able to carry you all.
You're pretty sure you could carry a couple of them. Carrying them all would be a pretty big task.
Listen, if Luna can lift herself with her wings, she'll be able to lift a couple of people.
It's not a matter of strength, it's a matter of endurance. If you're going up 100 feet in the air, you're dealing with a lot of wind. And if you've got an extra 200 to 300 pounds of baggage, that's going to throw you off.
It might be a little slow, it might be a little, but I think she can make it.
Just a nice gentle glide down.
Yeah.
Somehow I don't think the evac ship is a beadrin.
Yeah, probably.
So, it might be a bit suspicious.
Especially not one that they have pictures of on wanted posters.
Yeah, a little bit. Tolan also mentions Tolis mentions that there was an extra bounty for Luna.
What was the extra bounty?
The extra bounty was 8,000 credits.
Think is higher than the rest of us? I don't remember.
Overall, your bounty was 40 grand for kind of the whole crew. It's now been bumped up by 8 grand, Luna especially. Because they don't know quite who the rest of you are, but especially Luna, they know, they have images of.
Well.
Thinking about MedEvac. Can you get me the file on the Reki's illness? I would like to take a closer look.
Yeah, sure. And Yurt starts kind of working away at the terminal, and you hear a little ping. If you have like a data pad or something like that, you hear a ping on your terminal, your device, that gives you a fairly accurate readout of what the illness is. It's basically for lack of a better term, it's a respiratory illness. The way the hawks breathe is through the skin rather than through the mouth, because they don't really have one.
It's like Meeps dust.
Exactly. So this is something you're probably familiar with, if not that you've seen before. And this kind of thing usually means that Rekis would be wearing a full kind of suit. At most times, they may still take off the helmet, but for the most part, they'll wear something that allows them to control what comes in and goes out through their breathing.
And okay.
Do we have also anything on Reki's bodyguards? How many of them he moves with? What species?
It's pretty iffy on major details, but it looks like they've usually got about 6 to 10 bodyguards. I think 10 is the max that most of this seems to show. There's a couple bits of footage. Doesn't look like a huge entourage.
And I mean, if we medevac him, it will limit the number that can come with. So, sorry, do you continue?
However, if it might take us a while, but the hangar is not the safest of workplaces. If something does go wrong, nothing super serious, but enough for us to be able to go, hey, Meeps has medical knowledge, they're reliable. Then having someone in the hangar who's known for that could be a good thing.
I've already announced our foreman I have some medical expertise.
That's true.
Actions speak louder than words, though. So
yes, that's what I meant also. We should also need some more. Well, I wouldn't like to arrange accidents. That sounds bad.
Yeah, you've never done that.
No, not at all.
I mean accidents where people actually do need Meep's help.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a respiratory problem. I'm familiar with. My species also has these issues with skip breathing. I think I could.
My memory's failing me. Is anyone in our crew the same species as Rekus?
You do not have any hawks within your crew, no. But you do know that the foreman of the hangar, the supervisor, Zelinsky, was a hawks. And just for reference for everyone else potentially watching or forgetting, the hawks are like a sea slug, basically. Specifically nudibranchs, because they are very colorful and kind of large and spiky.
I have some idea. Let me study my data for a bit.
Of course.
Okay. And this data I would like to study is whether I have some psychoactive chemical that would work on hawks and make them susceptible for instructions.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, okay. So not quite a truth serum, but kind of a. Okay.
I most certainly would have something to ease Reki's breathing because that's a
like
common
an
problem.
EpiPen, that kind of thing.
Something that enlarges the openings, however that works.
However, yeah.
Same thing as asthmatics here.
Yeah,
need some.
So I would say roll me a no.
Yes,
I'll give you a +1 since you have Rekus's kind of biological makeup, for lack of a better term.
No,
we'll say wisdom, yeah.
Oh, I forgot. It doesn't matter for me.
Okay.
Come on, why aren't rolling? Oh, right here.
Oh dear.
You don't think there's anything specific to hawks that would work like that? You're not even sure if that would work on most other races at the moment. There's nothing that's kind of like springs to mind when you think about it.
No.
I thought about mixing some psychoactive substances into breathing medicine, but I have nothing.
Okay.
It sounds like a solid plan. What do you need us to do?
I think it's a good option if there's a reason why they can't bring Rekis out the other options, so that none of the exits are viable. If they suspect something is up, they might go to backup plan or something that we don't know of.
Yeah, that would be awkward.
So just so we're all clear on the plan, you want to get like a medical emergency for Rekas, is that right?
I think that's all. I mean, not
Yeah.
necessarily an emergency, an atmospheric threat,
Mm-hmm.
potential for an emergency. I'd rather avoid bloodshed if we can.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all want to get paid more, right?
Yeah.
But are you gonna like take him out on a ship, or are you gonna like trap him in the, what's your plan? Just so we know if we need to be backup.
Yeah, I think I would like to do the we are the medevac option.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we introduce something into the air intake, and then they're going to go into evac mode. We either meet them at the hangar and evac them there, or we disable the emergency elevator and we meet them at the roof and evac there.
The roof might be a bit more private.
Roof is definitely more private, but it's another moving piece. So
true.
It's a trade-off.
I do also think that if all else goes wrong and we can't be the medevac team on the roof, Luna, you might be our backup option if all else fails.
Yep.
It's not an option I like, but I don't think we're going to get many more chances if, they go through security footage and we're suddenly close to all of the air vents.
Yeah.
Well, if we do roof, Luna can not necessarily kill, but neutralize any guards that come by. So we have an easier time getting Rekus out of there.
I mean, if you give me some tranquilizer, like kind of bullets, I could use them to shoot at the guards.
yeah, I think we can find those. Yeah, we could do that. And Fret and Win and we're in kind of like not in agreement. Like, yeah, that's easily done. It might cost some, but
well, it's better than, setting a whole building on fire with hundreds of people in it.
Yeah, I don't want to. No, that's I gotta. Oof.
This planet will need spaceport to facilitate the trade once Rekis is out of business.
Yeah, I feel like Biff might throw a fit.
So the biggest question is then, how do we become the medevac?
Well, you said you were fixing a ship, right?
I mean, that ship is flying nowhere, even with as much as we've patched it. It's not going to look
right. But what about the other ships in there?
Yeah,
that's what I mean. If we know which one it is.
Well, and if and this is Taika speaking. If you want fewest guards, you could just find the smallest flyable ship, right?
I mean, they might. If there is a designated medevac ship, then they're going to be suspicious if something else shows up.
Yeah.
If
that's a good point.
Unless we do a little bit of magic on the other ships and just disable them so that on that day, oh no, this is the only one that can fly. Oh, what a shame.
Could work.
Yeah, pull out the odd part from engines of various ships. Disconnect
it's
a couple
take
circuits.
a while to set up.
They also might just take the first ship that shows up if it's a big enough emergency.
Yeah, that too. And we'll be the first one to show up.
Yeah.
We still need a ship capable of leaving the planet anyway.
Doesn't necessarily need to leave the planet.
Just need to get them get them away from the guards.
Yeah. You do know that your contract is basically at the end, once everything's kind of done, you will get you'll get a ship that's capable of atmospheric and interstellar flight.
So
you don't necessarily need to get Rekus off planet.
No, you just need to get Rekus captured. Exactly.
Yeah.
Captured or otherwise.
So we'll need a tranquilizer for Ruckus as well, I suppose.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be helpful. Yeah, I can always deliver that from close range. Either kind
Oh,
of,
Hmm.
I think we could deliver that along with the breathing medicine.
Mm,
Hmm.
yeah, that could be the breathing medicine.
I mean,
Well,
if there is no
that's what we
actual
need.
emergency, there's no need for actual medicine.
Mm.
Just has to be convincing enough.
Any atmospheric change and any breathing ease would make Rekis happy, I assure you.
Yeah, I guess if we solve his breathing issue, but also there's a sedative in with it,
Hmm.
that would probably do the job.
There's one more thing that I, at least now, once we do have him sedated, if he's that sensitive to atmospheric changes, where are we bringing him that won't kill him?
You know that he Rekis likely won't die from this kind of thing. It's not like a anaphylaxis, but it's a kind of like you have about a day or two before it becomes life-threatening.
Just put him in a box.
We're kind of trying to avoid getting him put into a box, but you know.
Yurt pipes up like you could make a clean room. Just some with really basic sheeting and like a controller.
I'd rather spend some time planning all of this out than
I think
running in unprepared.
Yeah.
I think preparing a controlled environment is not a big problem.
Yeah, it's not too difficult a task.
We need walls, tanks, and some filters.
So in total, after kind of racking up what you currently need, you need trank rounds, you need an atmospheric filter, and some basic like walls, essentially, for the clean room. Was there anything else you wanted?
That for the entire thing?
Yeah, for the whole kind of thing. For your
Well, we need something that causes a breathing
for your
problem.
smoke, that would be, let's see. Yeah, so you want how many of those? Do you want just 4 or do you want extra?
Always bring extra.
Yeah, always bring extra.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in total, that is one. It'll run you about 600 credits total.
I think we could join ship with walls. Make the inside of the ship controlled environment. The ship already is very isolated.
That's true.
Volume of atmosphere.
Yeah, we just tune up the breathing scrubbers and that'll do it.
Yeah, if you do that, you could shave 150 off the cost. So it'd be 450 total for the rest of the gear.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. That's a small price to pay. Trying to think if there's anything else we can do. So we're basically just going to be the first evac ship out.
Yeah. So we need someone to disable the lift into the hangar.
I can probably handle that.
And then we need to grab a ship. Which we can either find one that needs a test flight or just take one.
Yeah. Need to assess obviously one that's perfectly flyable as we're we're working, but because the last thing we want to do is go, we've got a ship and it doesn't start.
I mean, we know one that will start. It's just whether it will.
Yeah, maybe work on that one and make it flyable.
Yeah.
Because at least that's a known quantity.
How do we disable the actual medevac team, though? The people who are meant to do the job. We don't know who they are.
You do know where they are, though. On the schematic, if you look, they are right next to where the security office is, which is on the second floor inside the main doors. So there's kind of like, here's the security office, and then infirmary is right next to it, and that is where your medevac team will kind of be stationed.
Okay. Food
So-
poisoning?
Meeps will befriend them. Meeps wants to befriend them anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Just, I don't know, Meeps, maybe if you're even there when it happens and go with them.
Well, Meeps needs
Yeah,
to
that would
size the
put you out of
team
action.
and assess the options.
Because, like, if we want to play the slightly destructive option, we could have Meeps bring them all a present. You know, just bring them some donuts or whatever that happen to have a laxative or something of that description in them.
It
Something to
doesn't
give
have
them
to be
a very
anything
mild food
actually
poisoning.
harmful. Yeah.
No, not harmful. Just take them out of the
Exactly.
picture. And like the evac team is not going to want to do anything, so we take their place.
Willem needs to be known for being capable pilot. Meeps needs to be known for being capable medic, and we have medevac team
Yeah.
beta. Medevac team beta.
It's going to take us a while if we're happy to invest the time, but it
Yeah,
seems
as long as
the
we play this
least risky
carefully, I think we
option.
can.
Yeah, I would say we're just going to do like a kind of a bit of a time skip. So I'll have you roll a few things for me. Let's start off with who is going into disable. Are you disabling the elevator on the day of, or are you setting something up so that you can remotely do it?
Ooh.
I think if we can remotely,
Something
otherwise
remotely
fail
would be
safe.
best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll tell
Not
you what.
remote because we'd want Eva with me
Yeah.
on the ship when we pull up.
I'll tell you what. Eva, roll me a fix.
Can I help her with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Roll yours first, Autumn, and then we'll see what the bonus is. See if there's any downsides to it.
It's only a 5.
5. Okay, so you won't have a bonus, but there's no major downside to it.
So +0 and use Dex. Come on, one time, no whammies.
Oh,
Hey,
That's a
good one.
that'll
13.
do you. That'll absolutely
yeah.
do you.
Yeah.
You've got a remote set up. It should be good to about 200 meters, you think? So you couldn't do it while you were across town, but if you're within kind of the starport's facility, you think you can do it. So you have a remote to disable the elevator going to the hangar. Next is Meeps. You want to go in and kind of get to know the team, right?
Well, also if the air valve entry would be on somewhere hard to reach spot, Meeps would also be able to help with that.
Okay. So
But-
first off, let's do the med team, and then we can do the air valves
so-
after.
I will see to infirmary and enter.
Okay. So the infirmary is pretty empty at this time of day. There's a couple people in there. They don't look like they're in too bad of shape. And the person at the reception desk greets you. It's a human. And he goes, "Oh, I haven't seen one of you around in a very long time. What can I do you for?"
Hello, fellow medic. I've been assigned to the hangar duty, but I think it may not suit my abilities best. This orientation thing takes little interested in using best qualities of personnel.
Yeah, it's pretty much a big net, unfortunately. But that's how Brass wants it done. What are your skills though, if you don't mind me asking?
I mean, I've received general medical training, and this is my focus of life healing.
Okay.
I've been healer on my home planet.
Okay. Well, do you what I tell you what, we got someone that came in with a bit of an interesting problem. So if you can give me a hand with that, show me what you know. I think we might have a spot for you. So he
Of course, I will be more than glad to help.
Cool. So he kind of gestures over to one of the beds, leads you over. It is another Jintai, and this Jintai is having issues with its bonding procedure. This is not something you've seen before. This is pretty new to you, but can you roll me a, let's see what that would be. It's either going to be a no check or just trying to think. Could be a no or it could be a notice.
Always choice between equal values.
Okay. So choose whichever one you want, but
Okay.
go ahead and roll me that.
We can augment that if it goes badly.
I mean,
Yeah, you do have a D4 should you want to add to it.
We have
okay.
2.
So let's start with
There's 1 D4 for the players and 1 for me.
5.
No, there's an additional one.
Oh, there is another one. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So do
I
you
would
want to use a
augment
D4
that.
on that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Please be nice. Please be nice. Okay. 8.
There you go.
8. Yeah.
There we go.
That's good enough to get a gist on it. So the bonding is being problematic. And you're not sure why specifically, but what it looks like is there's some kind of irritation on the neck part of the body that is causing like a weird, almost sort of fungal reaction between the head and the body.
So I would like apply bioscanner, I think.
Yeah.
To find maybe source of an infection.
Yeah,
What
for
would-
sure. So yeah, it takes you a few minutes to scan through the whole thing, and the scanner itself has records of this species of the Jintai, but it comes up as kind of almost similar to how your species bonds itself molecularly. The way the connections work, it almost is like 2 plugs, but one of the contacts is corroded, right? So when you're trying to plug it in, it either doesn't want to go or it's shorting. In terms of mechanical connections. So with this, you could probably find either a topical cream or some kind of antihistamine to reduce the swelling and the rash.
Nips loves to find similarities in all the species. It's a irritating substance or infection between bonding surfaces. Nips demonstrates. I lift up my head.
And even the Jintai gotta like, they don't have eyebrows, but all the eyes go pretty wide.
Both surfaces needs to be clean on very low molecular level. Block.
And the receptionist that guided you over was kind of like, you should probably warn people before you do that, but you're spot on.
You've said you haven't seen my species for quite so long time. I assumed you've seen my species before. Sorry for being wrong.
We've seen it. We just tend not to see you. Yeah.
I also assumed Gintai would be familiar with this.
The Jintai speaks up like, well, we don't. It's a strange thing. We don't really. It's not a common practice. To detach. It's like if someone were to pull their arm off.
Offend any of the present beings.
No offense. Just surprised.
Anyway, I know the pain, my friend.
And they nod and they clearly have like a we know what's going on. Look between you. So the other
Let
medic
me find a proper substance to alleviate your problems.
Cool. So yeah, you search through the storage lockers within and you find something that should work. And it should kind of clear up the infection on the neck. So the receptionist is blown away. And by the end of the day, you have not only a badge, but you have a uniform and you have a station.
Nice. Okay.
So next, let's do who is setting up the canisters outside the air vents. I know Meeps had said that they want to do that. Is anyone else interested in that?
I mean, I'm happy
assuming
to,
that's-
provided it gets done.
Sorry.
Otherwise, I think it can be done by anyone with access to the building.
For sure. Just
Yeah.
if anyone has any preference.
Well, while Meeps is befriending the medical crew, it
Mhm.
might have been a good idea to try to like maybe get a hold of Zelensky's like manifest and see what ships might be best for purposes.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Do that through your data link.
You're in well enough with Zelensky that you can kind of you can grease the wheels a little bit. They say that it's going to cost you a bit, so they're like, just hand me like 20, 25 credits, and I'll pretend that this didn't fall off the back of a truck.
I definitely Willem would have used like fanatic mode and been like, I want to know everything about all of the ships.
Okay, so they can tell you're kind of like.
I'll drop the credits on that.
Okay, let's take 25 credits off. You get a list of all the ships that are in there. Most of them are junkers. They're either literally grounded or they need a lot of work. The two that you think might be best for a medevac, that are actually functioning at least, you've got a smaller, kind of similar shuttle-ish design to the one you had worked on the previous days. And you've got a larger, but still kind of within the same hull range vessel. So one is good for about 6 people. One is good for about 10, you think. They're both in decent flying condition. The only difference between the two is one is faster. The one that holds 6 people is faster than the one that holds 10.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, otherwise they're in working order. There's no serious issues when you look at it that would pop out as like, hey, this will cause us an issue during the flight.
Okay. Definitely in favor of the smaller, faster one, I think. Gives us better control of who gets on it.
Yep.
And a better chance of getting out of there. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So Meeps is doing it. Do we want to just throw one of the other crew members on it? One of the NPCs? You could have Tychus, who already knows the architectural kind of layout.
I mean, if there's...
Go ahead, Polish.
If there's a delayed release to the atmospheric thing, I could plant one on the way in.
True.
I dare say I could plant one and then have Tychus plant another.
Yeah, and then Meeps can plant the 4th. Yeah, I won't even bother having you roll. If you've got that many people on it, you could probably do that without issue.
Luna could probably also plant one and then get to her perch.
Yeah.
And that's a good question. Yep. Luna, what are you doing during all this?
I'm like trying to find like a good way to like be able to use my sniper rifle to hit guards if they were to try to escape, but not also be seen at the same time. Like get a clear shot.
Are you doing this from the ship, or are you doing this from a nearby rooftop?
Nearby rooftop.
Nearby rooftop? Okay, roll me a notice.
All right. That would be... 4.
Oof. Do we still have a second D4? I forget.
I believe we do.
We had 2 total. We only used 1.
Okay.
We used 1, yeah. I think now is a reasonable time to use a second.
D4. Oh, really?
No. Oof. So you don't find the best spot. There's not really any buildings surrounding the spaceport that are even close to its level. But the spot you find, you think if they end up getting Rekkus to one end, you might be able to get a clear shot. But if they're getting Rekkus just out the door, you can't see it from where you're at.
Can I just be high up in the air?
Yeah, you could do high up in the air. I will still say that the winds up there may cause you issues. So you could get a shot, but you might be rolling with either a penalty or some other kind of detriment.
I'm gonna just stay with the line spot on that building.
Okay. Yeah, both of them will kind of give you there's a downside to them for sure. There's not really any good spots around.
I think as part of routine maintenance, Eva would like to have a look around the 2 ships that are candidates.
Sure.
And see, like, are there supplies or medical supplies on board them? Are there like medevac suits on there? Just get the lay of the land on those 2.
Okay. The one with 10, the 10 capacity ship, does have medical supplies on board. Neither of them has medevac suits.
Okay.
But you do know that medevac suits are not necessary for
Or like, well, I mean, sorry, uniforms like jumpsuits.
oh,
that would
uniforms.
make
Gotcha,
us
gotcha.
seem obvious as the
You know,
medevac
there's
team.
some in the hangar. None of them are specifically medevac, but there are like just kind of jumpsuits in general that are utility use enough that they might be able to pass, or you might be able to modify them.
So maybe we steal some of those for the team. I'm assuming it's just me and you, Willem. Me, you, and Autumn. Well, and obviously Meeps is going in the thing as well, aren't you? Because you're the medical guy.
Right.
So we need 4 suits. That's 3, 4 suits.
Meeps has. Meeps already
Random
has
chance,
uniform.
what color are they jumpsuits?
The jumpsuits are a deep green.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nice try though. Good effort.
We need 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be close enough. Never mind.
You do know, Autumn, that the inside of the ship is also kind of it's not a steel color. The inside of the ship is surprisingly closer to almost like browns than anything. So with some time, you might actually be able to camouflage into it.
And it's more, I was hoping it was going to be deep green so I could camouflage partially and have it look more, like at first glance, like a suit.
Gotcha.
But it's good to know, in case I do stand out a bit too much. Or, panic.
Yeah. Chameleon time. So we're just about to break, but is there anything else that anyone wants to do in terms of planning, in terms of any other kind of extra things you want to get done before you pull this heist off?
I don't think so. All the like biological agents and stuff are already being just bought.
Yep.
Right?
Everything's in place. Yeah.
Yep. You've got a remote on the elevator. You have got people in place in the med team. There is one thing, and this is something that I'll roll kind of in the background when you administer the how did Raven put it? Laxativos.
No. That was something I wanted to ask about.
Okay, go ahead, Meeps.
So there's a medical personnel, but is there a dedicated pilot for Medivac?
Let's see. Is there a
because we haven't established Willem as a pilot yet.
That is a very good question. You know that most of the medevac people have either like basic medical or basic flight training, but there are a few people on the team that are specifically good pilots. So they're usually the first to be flying. The others are, hey, your pilot just passed out mid-flight. You can at least take over. So I'd say there's
really like Zelensky has been informed that I know how to fly, but no one has seen it.
Yeah, no one's actually seen you fly yet, so no one's kind of in the know about that. But there are 3 pilots on the medevac team.
So it's them I need to get as priority targets for my chemical attack.
Okay. So yeah, we'll roll that after the break once you're actually in and the whole thing is getting set off. Did everyone decide how you're going to divvy up the credit cost of this endeavor? It was 450 credits.
I covered it.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
And then I bought the list off of Zelensky.
Right. Yeah, I think the rest of your crew is pretty well set up on it too. You've got Fred and Weirin who are kind of going around town making sure there's no extra things that could possibly have an issue. Luna, did you still want to talk to Bashti?
About what?
About anything. Because Bashti has been bought off essentially by Rekus.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay. Other than that, I'm trying to think if there's something else that might be of note. You do know that Golm actually runs a business here in the city. And she has kind of gone back and forth between the starport and her business.
Okay.
So if anyone wanted to talk to her, we could do that probably quickly before the break. But otherwise, I think we're set.
I don't think we can really achieve anything much with her because I don't.
Yeah.
we don't really have that much power to negotiate on behalf of the beautiful Biff.
Okay.
Really, do we?
Yeah. Beyond stating
could always
my
ask.
curiosity.
Yeah, you could always ask Biff if there's any leeway on that front, because you haven't actually
Okay.
talked with Biff yet.
True. You could maybe get in contact with him and see
Yeah,
what we can
actually
offer to
Okay.
help
probably
get a
talk
person
with
on the
Biff.
side.
And even just fill him in on the plan or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll do that real quick before we break here.
Okay.
You call Biff up, takes about 5 rings, and Biff appears on screen. Biff is a, let's say, well-muscled in the head individual. They've got a very like thick neck, and just everything is kind of beefy almost on the head, from what you can see. Ah, well, it's good to see you all. You're all alive and well. What can I do for you?
So we're about to take a step on our plan to handle our friend.
Right.
And we may have a business, gonna air quotes, business companion of his that we may be able to scoop out from underneath him. But we need to know how much negotiating we can do on your behalf to achieve that.
Removing Oh, sorry.
Removing Rekis will cause some vacuum. Vacuums don't tend to get empty for long.
Yeah,
That's true.
About replacement.
Well, and yeah, it would be nice to have someone who knows the business. I'll tell you what. I'll give you give you 6,000 credits bargaining power to kind of buy this person out from under Rekus. Anything more, I'll have to talk to him directly. I don't want to spread myself too thin. You understand?
Sure. Okay.
But is everything going well? You think you can pull it off without any unnecessary bloodshed?
We have a plan. We think we've got a reasonable shot.
Oh, that's great. You know, it's always nice to see the pad doing work. Yeah, and don't forget, you do have your choice of two prime ships at the end of this to kind of.
Oh, I didn't forget.
It's all Willem talks about, says Eva, kind of pointing over her shoulder. It's all he talks about.
Ah, it's good. It's always I like having someone who knows ships. Yeah, I grew up on a ship, so it's kind of close to home.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anything comes up, just give them my number. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that all?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. Best of luck, kids. And then he just signs right off.
Okay, so let's chat with Golem and see what we can offer them.
Cool. So you go up to Golem's shop. Golem is running essentially like a pottery / armor shop, for lack of a better term. She is selling large kind of vases and other ceramic things you might find around the home, but also ceramic body armor. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a weird shop looking, like one half pottery, one half like ballistic vests.
Armory. Yeah.
Bed Bath Ballistics.
Yes, exactly. So she's off to the side kind of doing inventory, and the person behind the desk greets you.
Hey. Out of curiosity, DM, sorry, how good is like ceramic armor compared to the basic armored undershirt?
Most basic ceramic armor is, I would say, it's under what your under or equal to. We'll say equal to what your undershirt is. But this specific stuff, it is the same kind of armor class in mechanics, at least. But it also has the ability to be linked up to to any kind of device, because it's especially conductive. So you could have potentially, and you actually see this on the back wall, you see something that is a quote unquote like deflection shield. It's more of a like charged element on the vest that will allow it to slow down incoming bullets. So there's more resistance, basically.
Okay.
It's kind of like an electromagnetic field, but localized to you.
Cool. How much would that be? I point to the shieldy thing.
Okay. Oh well, that's one of our biggest products. So that one's going to run you about 800 credits plus the vest, which is another 250.
So 1050. Yeah. How soon can I get one?
Well, you can walk out of here right now if you want one. I mean, after you pay, of course.
The credits.
All right. That's a lot of money to drop all at once.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shut up and take my money. Give.
So you do go through kind of the rigmarole of getting fitted for it. They make sure it actually suits and everything like that. And while that's going on, Golem actually comes over and just kind of is watching over. Clearly, the person that's fitting you out is a new employee. That's all good. And Golem kind of like, is everything okay? Is everything to your liking? Was there any other additions you wanted to add to it?
As long as it can, I think this will be fine. As long as it can fit relatively well, I don't think I have any problems.
Okay.
So how's business on this planet for you?
Well, it's okay. It's I don't want to talk shop, but we're providing some of the best ceramics at this part of the range, but there is a bit of a, let's say, a rock in the river. If that makes sense. There's something keeping us from really branching out. But
see, I have a friend who's mildly interested in that rock in the river, and potentially smoothing the way. And he was wondering if you would support efforts to clean the river, shall we say?
This friend of yours, are they the one lifting the rock?
They're not doing the lifting, but they're inciting the lifting.
Okay. How much inciting are they interested in? Listen, this metaphor is getting a little stretched. So
it is, yeah. Okay.
How much is your contact willing to pay me to step out of the way?
He's offered me 5K with a potential leeway.
Okay. Well, considering you just dropped a fifth of that in my shop, I don't think that that's too much. But I tell you what, I'll take the 5K and I will take 15% of the let's say the overhead. I want a little extra for being the one that's, let's say, taking over the rock's place.
Okay. I can't negotiate on percentages, but I can give you his number and you could negotiate that with him. And I'm sure he'll be amenable to some kind of agreement.
Does this contact have a name?
His name is Biff. And he's quite beautiful.
The beautiful Biff.
Yeah.
Well, this stage has got a hell of a lot more interesting. Okay. I didn't realize the beautiful Biff was so interested in our little backwater ceramics, but if that's the case, maybe I can twist the old man's arm for a bit more than 15. Thank you.
He was
so
willing
much.
to. I have some wiggle room in that 5K that I could give you, but
I'll tell you what. I'll take the 5K because you've just given me some of the best news I've heard all month. If Biff is the one that I can deal with instead of that slimy, no offense, bastard Rekus, I will happily take that. Because I've been up there about 5 times this week and I can't squeeze anything out of that pus bag.
Okay. I assume I have like a credit chip or something I can give for the...
Yeah. So she takes that, pockets it, and you trade information, kind of the details for Beautiful Biff, all of that business. And she says, you know what? What was your name?
Name's Eva. Eva Maddock.
Eva Maddock. I'll be in touch, Eva.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
So you get fully suited out. She goes back to what she was doing. The suit itself is not as thin, obviously, as your undersuit was, but it does have the extra addition of kind of a repulsion field, quote unquote.
Sweet.
So I'll detail that once we're back from break here. But
Sure.
I think we're going to take a break, folks. Take a little 10-minute breather, get everyone sorted and recoffeed, and then we're going to heist.
Okay.
We'll see you all in a bit.
Heist.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Void Cavalcade time yet again. It's heist time. This is it's about a 3-day setup, I'd say, for what the crew is kind of arranged. They're planning to gas Rekus, not fatally, of course, but in some way to force a medical emergency. and then they are going to be that medical evacuation personnel. They've set themselves up pretty dang well inside the starport and should all go to bunk. They've got Luna set up on a nearby rooftop providing covering fire. So how do you want to go about doing this? Who's going where? Or are you all just kind of meeting in the hangar and waiting for things to pop off?
I think at least Autumn's instinct is to play this off as close to a normal workday as possible.
Okay.
Doing as
Yeah.
little as possible to draw attention to herself.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of I set up the fire alarm to go off, but I'm not going to let anyone know it was me kind of a deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Not saying
me-
from personal experience or anything.
Can neither
For
can
legal
I.
reasons.
Yeah, for legal reasons. My name has been changed. So we know Autumn is there. What's Will, Ava, and Meeps and Luna doing?
Willem would also likely just like, because his job is kind of be in the hangar anyway, would try his best to find an excuse to get onto the ship that
Okay.
we want to snag, or at least near enough that I can
Yeah.
run in.
No, I have
Yeah.
an idea for that. Okay.
Okay.
Ava
Meeps-
or Meeps? Go
Yeah,
first.
sorry. I think Eva would be in a similar situation. Would be
Okay.
with one.
And Meeps, go ahead.
Meeps needs to have prepared a medicine for Rekis because Meeps actually wants to help him breathe.
Of course.
Mhm.
I mean, breathing is important.
Breathing is really
Tranquil-
important.
Tranquilizer for Rekis and something in spray for the guards.
Okay.
Rekis will take on board, and Meeps needs to have eye on pilots and
Right.
their meal. And actually, Meeps mentioned Willem earlier as Meeps' pilot friend.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you've kind of put in a good word for Willem as a replacement should they need one.
No, nobody will ask questions why I'm pointing out to this person as well. Maybe he should fly it.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's easy. You've gotten in pretty well with the med crew over the last few days. But I want to see just quite how good your your X-Lax O's ends up being for the rest of the med crew. Or do you want to do something else?
Yes, I'm not big on this idea of laxatives because
Okay.
that sounds weird to Meeps.
Fair enough. So what's your alternative?
Well, that probably depends on the species of pilots. Meeps' medical knowledge. I think Meeps would go for something that would really impair their abilities to fly, like headache, cognitive abilities.
So this is something I won't have to you roll for, but you do know that there are plenty of legally accessible, let's say for lack of a better term, entertainment substances that are non-harmful, but are definitely things you should not be on while you're flying. So you could either, slip these to them via food or whatever else, or you could even see if any of them are casual users of these things.
Yes, that would be something I would like to investigate.
Okay. Roll me a talk.
I would like to discuss with my friend medic how interspecies parties are going.
Oh, okay.
In this environment.
Okay.
I mean, casual medical chemical talk.
Of course. Do people use laughing gas every now and then? I'm sure
Okay.
medics use that. So
rolling talk.
Yeah, roll me a talk. We'll see just how willing they are to divulge that.
Talk with what?
I'd say charisma or intelligence.
Okay, rolling. Please. Dunk. Always these fives.
Always the fives. The person you're talking with and a few others, they're very cagey about answering. They don't want to give you too much. They're worried you get the feeling that you're going to kind of report them if they say anything damning about it. So they're very like, oh yeah, parties, yeah. You know, some people do stuff, you know, at these parties. Obviously, we don't, of course.
Obviously, I ask just to further my knowledge about different species chemistry.
Okay, so it's
That's
kind of
how
like
I
how they
play it.
affect them and things like that.
That's how I played.
Okay. So yeah, they give you kind of the rundown, like, oh yeah, this one makes, you know, humans really bubbly, but it makes polities like super serious, you know, things like that. For the most part, you know, there's only a few that would probably affect all of them the same, so that they wouldn't be able to fly. Again, they're readily accessible, so it's just a matter of cost.
Okay, I think I will play it straightforward.
Okay.
So Mips will get our fixers to get some that stuff.
Mhm. Okay, that will cost, pardon me, we'll say it's about 200 for the amount that you want. 200 credits. It is illegal, but it tends to be fairly well taxed. So.
And just mix it to the food unnoticeably. But I have perfect excuse for the moment they will notice the effects.
Okay, all right. So Meeps has mixed some substances into the pilot's food, and you've got all the other pieces in place. When do you set off the remote smoke at the vents? This is something you can have decided beforehand. You don't have to really, like figure it out in res.
I think that we definitely want to ensure that it's not while we're forced to take a mandatory break.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I think we just want enough time for the day to have settled a bit.
Okay.
So that it's not the sort of people still getting back onto shifts, that kind of.
Right. There's a couple points you could do it at. You could do it after, quote unquote, midday. Since it's a binary star system, the days are really long, but they've still kind of divvied it up into shifts, more or less. So between first and second shift, there's a lot of kind of mulling around and a lot of people. It's a very busy time, but anywhere about 3 hours after or before that, it's pretty quiet. It's just kind of your general, like, oh, you know, everything's flowing nicely. The next break still has a while to come up, things like that.
I think
around there,
towards the end of a normal shift, like when people are starting to get a bit tired and not paying as much attention,
they're just
either that or you know, when you're like 2 hours left, do I really
that kind of 3/4 mark.
Yes.
Okay.
Time to pretend to work for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow. This
people have
document's gonna take a
stopped
long
working
time.
properly, so they're more likely to miss things.
Yeah.
Okay, and you've noticed that too, being in the hangar and being around the starport. You notice that after the first day, they haven't really checked you again. They're just kind of like, oh yeah, it's you. You know, go do the thing. You go see Zelensky. But yeah, you notice when it comes to about the last 2.5 hours of the day, basically all work in the hangar stops. Like they obviously still look like they're doing things, but it's mostly people around in ships or, you know, going over catalogs, pretending they're ordering something. It's a lot of faffing about. Even Zelensky takes part now and then.
Oh, this part is taking so long to find in this catalog. Oh,
yeah, exactly. Oh my god. Wait, maybe it was last year's. Go check the archives. Like people making up.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have no trouble getting into the ship you want to get into and kind of looking around it. In fact, some of the other crew, like the repair crews, are in there as well, and they're kind of just chatting idly about the ship, things like that. Like, oh, you know, it's, whenever you see the old like X390 on this puppy, oh, the sound it makes, it's great. Just so much jargon going around.
They go through air filter systems so quickly, though. It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's terrible, you know. And the X391 is supposed to take care of it. It's the same thing.
No,
it's the exact same.
They made
thing.
it worse.
Oh yeah. So, and you actually do notice a lot of people in there are drinking or otherwise imbibing. It's a very lax atmosphere in the hangar, surprisingly. When you go on break, you notice the other guards are pretty like tied up. There's no faffing about for the most part, but hangar is definitely a different story. So
You definitely picked the best duty.
definitely. So Meeps, you put that in. Once you get into kind of meal time and the pilots go off to eat, when they come back, you notice they're all very wide-eyed. They're all just kind of like not looking at everything with surprise or wonder, but more of just trying to focus on one thing at a time. And when they move their head, their eyes take about a second to follow suit.
I'm openly recording and taking notes.
Okay. As you do when you get your friends high.
Yeah.
So a few of them are kind of like, what was in that food? Was it like I didn't. And a few other people are kind of like, oh, this kind of feels like this thing. And what they're doing is they're trying to figure out what they're on by going through their medical knowledge and bandying back and forth.
Oh, and I'm giving him the information straight.
Yeah. So they're all kind of like, oh, okay, all right. Who was the prankster that spiked the food?
It's not a prank. I think our conversation was pretty clear.
What?
Nips is on the learning trip. It's custom of our species. We discussed the substances. Now Nips needs to collect empirical data.
Are you saying you drugged us so you could study us?
I think
That's super
And the person talking to you is just slowly drooping over, but their eyes are still on you.
Yo, they're high.
That's really not okay practice.
Nips calculated all the statistics for past accidents on the later part of the shift. There's nothing going on any day.
Okay. Well, I'm afraid
Nips.
we are going to have to write you up on that one.
But please do so after
When they can work out how to use a pen again.
after the stuff wears off, so I can have completed all my observations.
That's just
Okay.
gonna remember this.
That's probably a good idea. Yeah, what do you say?
If you need this to have been registered medical experiment, MIPS will register it by themselves.
One of them just passes out mid-sentence.
It was supposed to be an invigorating substance, not tranquilizing.
It's clearly had somewhat of a reverse effect on them. You're not sure if they were taking something that might counteract it, but they're all pretty, if they're not focused, they're definitely asleep. So you've got a very interesting range.
Whoever is conscious, I assure them.
MIPS will take care of your safety. Do not worry.
Okay, that's great, Marshmallow Man. Oh, yeah. It's just kind of, they're all a little like loose in the body and the movements. So about a little bit after that, I'd say about 20, 35 minutes, something like that. We'll say you had timed it more or less in the same period. The smoke goes off, and it takes a little while for it to filter in, but over about 15 minutes, you know, when you burn something on the stove or your toaster's a little smoky, and you don't notice the smoke right away, but then you turn a light on, and you're like, ooh.
That's a haze, yeah.
Ooh. So it's subtle, but it does start coming in, almost like a fog rolling in through the vents. The hangar especially, it takes quite a while. You notice it like a thin little wisp almost on the ground. And just after you notice that, you hear the general sirens start sounding. Big klaxons in the hangar, lots of loud noises. The people in the med bay barely stir. At least the ones that are like the ones that are still awake are just kind of.
I'm quarter of expecting some of them to like try and dance to it in the very kind of, you know, acid kind of.
One of them is definitely like doing this to try to see if they can figure out where the sound is coming from, you think? You're not sure why. It's a very interesting scene. You're seeing a lot of behaviors you've never seen before. But yeah, the
I'm
klaxons
packing
go
my supplies.
Nice. Klaxons go off, and you hear a general emergency being announced. It's basically there has been a general there's kind of an environmental hazard. Please exit the building calmly. Equip respirators where necessary, and it's clear that they don't actually tell you where that's necessary. But you basically, all the hangar people just kind of start grumbling. One of them slaps someone else on the shoulder, and they go over and just open the hangar door. They don't even start evacting. They just open the big kind of exterior door to let things start venting out.
I'm poking out of medical bay and give Williams my big green thumb up.
Okay.
At this point, also Eva is disabling the lift.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So you actually, as you do that, you notice it was already on its way up, and you hear this grinding like.
Oh, what a shame.
Whoopsies.
And someone else was going, "What was that?" And I go, "Man, just don't worry about it." Like, it's the
I
end
heard
of
you're
the
not supposed to
day.
use a lift in the case of a fire.
We get to leave early.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, someone else is like, exactly. Newbie gets it. So, yeah, general alarm keeps going, and what do? There's no call for a medevac yet.
I think we need to kind of wait and kind of mill back and try and be like the last ones in the hangar.
Okay, so eventually people in the hangar, Zelensky and a few other kind of like higher ups start rounding people up very slowly, it's clear. They're like, oh, okay, we all know the drill. This is just like last time some joker set off smoke bombs in the bathrooms. Let's go. Come on. You know that.
I do want to, because we have selected the ship, right?
Yep.
I want to see if I can camouflage myself inside it.
Sure. Yeah. Throw me a sneak, and I'll give you a +2. I'll give you a +1.
Okay.
Because it's clear that either no one's looking, as well that you've had time to kind of study the pattern.
9.
Nice.
Easy. Yeah. You can easily hide in plain sight with that.
So that worst case scenario, at least someone's here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
For Willem,
We should definitely try and
and
stir
Eva,
ourselves away.
Yeah, you're going to try and steal it. Okay. So roll me sneaks as well.
Sneak plus dex.
Plus dex or int, because you know the area decently well.
The whole dex. Heavy dex.
Okay.
7. Cool.
7? Yeah, easy
Not
peasy.
particularly sneaky, but
Come on.
it's 12.
Oh, yeah, you found the best
Where's
spot.
Willem?
Willem is
Yeah, I'm
actually
in the driver's seat.
yeah, you're literally just in the driver's seat. You put the shades down on the cockpit, and you've been sitting there
I've
for
got my feet up on the panel, just
Yeah.
waiting for the
basically
go.
been there for like half hour, and people forgot
Yeah.
you were in there.
Mm.
So yeah, you see everyone
Familiarizing myself with the
slowly
controls.
file out, and when about 2/3 of the whole hangar has been evac'd, that's when you hear the medevac call go over the PA system. Can we get any
So-
available medical personnel to the roof ASAP? That is, again, any medical personnel to the roof ASAP, bring, and they kind of give like the list of things to bring medical equipment wise.
I signal the dispatcher in the medical bay, and I mean the administrator that
Okay.
I have my bag and I'm going.
Okay, so yeah, the the administrator and the other medics have actually had a time just trying to keep care of the other people who were drugged. So he kind of just like waves you off. He's like, yeah, just go, you're good. Just stop recording people.
We need to talk about your habits, but go and do with this.
Yeah,
first.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like, this is a write-up for sure. But go do a good job. So you can all see, anyone who's looking, you can see Meeps come into the hangar.
I'm
what-
running towards the ship
You're
because
right.
the time is of the essence.
Mm.
I'm going through pre-flight,
Okay.
flicking switches, and
Mm.
Yeah, and it all starts going up. You do notice some people starting to kind of glance back, like, what's going on there? But most of them, like, nobody really runs back to check. They all heard the medevac. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Sort
get
of
the door
hoping
open
that-
and
Meeps'
there's-
arrival as well is going to go,
there is
oh,
a
that's the
green-
medivac.
Yeah.
There's a green person in a medical suit. in the
Yeah, and
green
a few
colors
people
running, so
a
everything.
few people actually recognize
according to the
Meeps as
plan.
well. They're like,
He's
oh,
got a-
hey, it's
He's got a
great."
bag with a big plus sign on it. He's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's all you need, really.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's like walking into a construction site. Just put on a hat and a high-vis vest. You're fine.
Yeah.
So-
And carry a clipboard.
Exactly. So, yeah, Meeps, you get in. No
Why
trouble.
didn't we think of that? How much would 4 clipboards have cost us? Like
I
nothing.
know, right? Clipboards are the best. So you get in, you take off, and where are you going? You going straight to the roof, or are you going to go somewhere else first?
We need to contact Luna.
Yeah. Contact Luna, go to the roof.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So Luna, you hear them buzz you. If you want to do your voice thing there, Willem, go ahead.
Plus.
Hello.
It's no time.
All right. Here, what you need?
Just give us eyes. Make sure no one's there. We don't want there.
All right, got it.
Cool. So Luna, through your scope, if you've got binoculars, you can use those as well. From any optics you have, you can see that the rooftop is currently empty, but you notice that there's actually, how to describe this? So there's actually a spot where the roof starts kind of dipping, and then it rises up at a very sharp angle. And you, being a fairly master sniper at this point, at least in your own right, you think if you did it right, you might be able to ricochet off that wall if it comes to it. It will be a tricky shot, but if they're out of your range and someone else tells you, like, yeah, they're here, you might be able to get that shot off.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, the ship takes off, you fly out of the hangar bay. Some of your coworkers are kind of like, oh, yeah, you know, just waving at you. They click.
They're done like
So-
that.
Yeah. So you fly up all the way to the starport. It's a relatively clear day. It's windy, but it's not, storming by any means. And you get all the way to the top.
So who's where? Autumn and Meeps in the back, Eva on the back too, or in the pilots as the co-pilot?
I could co-pilot. Like I don't have any skill in piloting, but I could kind of
just
yeah
for bodyguards
sit in
to
the
get the right
second seat,
picture
yeah.
of things.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fairly shooty, so I would prefer to be in a position where I could actually like
Yeah,
Yeah, we-
I think
draw a weapon
Yeah.
and shoot them.
Okay,
Well,
so
that's
maybe
the only
have
one.
Autumn.
Consider.
Maybe have Autumn in the co-pilot seat. Up to you.
do we need a co-pilot for something like this?
For
I mean, I have
for
no
the look of
piloting
things,
skill.
maybe. Mm.
No, I think we don't. I just wanted. I mean,
Or maybe
I would
just have
also
the
just
three of us,
establishing
yeah.
the picture.
I'll probably be. I mean, it's a pretty small ship as well. Like I'll
Mhm.
probably be keeping an eye on what Will is doing just in case something does go wrong. But
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm
It's a
sort of
small
I
enough
go
ship.
where I'm needed for this.
Yeah.
Like it's not a cruise ship,
No.
you know.
The co-pilot's high right now. Let's not worry about him.
There's no there's not really a major divider between the cockpit and the main kind of bay.
Okay.
You can
Mhm.
see in, like it's clearly
Yeah.
divided, but there's still panels and things like that.
Yeah, so I'll just keep an eye on everything.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll be in the back with the gun reachable, but
Right,
not
right.
obvious.
Okay. Yeah, and there's still medical supplies in it, so you can put on the facade probably well enough.
Yeah,
I'm also still maintaining my camouflage just in case something does go south.
I was
and
gonna
need
ask.
to,
Cool. Just in case you need to jump out, right?
yeah.
Okay. All right, Freddie. No, I'm kidding. So your ship hovers around for about, I'd say, 5 minutes, and eventually you do see the door open on the top kind of part of it.
Pretty laxy bag.
Yeah, it's more you think that it was difficult to get up there. You notice that it's a very small door. It's the equivalent of a roof access hatch, but
Mhm.
as a door as opposed to like a vertical thing.
Right.
And it's clear that it is not powered by an elevator, because when the door opens, all the guards look pretty kind of like not exhausted,
Haggard.
like they
Yeah.
hoofing it up some stairs.
Advantage
Um,
taken.
Rekus as well, and this is the first time you've seen Rekus. So Rekus is very, let's say like a dark mauve almost in coloration with sulfur yellow tips on their kind of back spikes. They're not pointy or like sharp by any means, but they're more like fronds. Like they're just kind of extra appendages. And they're wearing their full kind of environment suit, helmet and all. And the guards are also wearing what looks like respirators. All of them are armed, and there are 4 total flanking Rekkas on the roof. And one of them starts kind of like waving you down to land.
Yep, I will follow suit.
All right. So you come down. You don't really find a good spot to land, but you find a good place to kind of hover right next to where they are. And 2 of the guards kind of take their positions almost like they go down on one knee and kind of like make themselves a staircase for Rekkas. It's a very odd look, but it's clear that Rekkas needs something to like crawl up on.
Yep.
I'm scanning Rekis with my bioscanner, like so I have something to lay on my information that I know what's wrong with Rekis.
Right. Okay.
Eva's like playing orderly, ready to support.
Right. Okay.
Meeps as necessary.
Cool. So you start scanning Rekkas. The other guards, once they've got Rekkas kind of in, they kind of like unceremoniously like help push the back end in. And then they start going to pile in as well. Do you do anything?
I think Eva kind of puts her hand up and says, we kind of 1 or 2 of you at the most, please. There's only so much space in here.
I'm sorry. Wait.
I'm over the standard weight. Sorry, only 1 of you can go in.
Can you roll me a talk?
I like this.
And I will give you a +1 with Ava kind of backing you up on that.
Come on, Meeps.
I believe in you, Meeps.
I mean, I'm
Oh, you hate this.
That's a 3. Oh.
That sucks.
Ow.
I'm actually like, that sucks. Ugh.
Yeah.
So one of the guards kind of like looks you up and down and is like, yeah, no, there's no way we're leaving Rekkas. Listen, this is standard procedure. Just let us do our job and we'll let you do yours.
Can I hear that from where I'm sitting?
Yep.
All right, and we're all on the ship, right? It's just the guards that aren't?
Yeah, the guards are like kind of halfway up as they're arguing.
Okay. I'm going to apologize later, and I'm going to do a roll so that they're leaning like in away from the door.
Okay.
The Rekkas kind of falls in, and the guards can't get up and out, and then I'm just going to shoot. Just going to take off.
Okay. Can you roll me a pilot check for that?
I can try.
Come on, you can do this. I believe.
I have a +3.
Go ahead, Polish.
You can
7.
do it.
7?
Ooh.
Okay.
I was going to say, will you because we mentioned having tranquilizers both for Luna and for us, will you let me have one in my hand, sort of hidden between me and the wall, just in case I do need it?
Yeah, for sure.
Can I can I line up the shot so if things get a little bit crazy, you could be able to like shoot one of the guards?
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll say one of the crew members was kind of, as you were doing that 5-minute circle, you were helping triangulate that.
Sure.
In terms of where it might like go.
Yeah. I mean, I was probably like looking out the side, so I'd probably be in a position to go, there's one this point, one this point.
Exactly.
One this point.
So you're aware of kind of where the guards are. So with a 7, you do manage to do the roll. There is a complication to that. One of the guards did manage to hold on and got flung kind of inside with you. The other guards.
1 guard's better than 4 guards.
1 guard's better than 4 guards.
Take 1. We did say 1 to begin with.
The other 2 guards who weren't climbing in have opened fire as you're kind of like driving off. So you hear bullets ping in. Go ahead.
That's expected.
I'm immediately going to go for the guard that's inside with that tranquilizer, hoping he hasn't seen me. He or she hasn't seen me yet.
Okay. So yeah, roll me an attack. That's a D20 plus strength, I would say, or Dex actually.
Meeps was
I'm gonna go with Dex if that's okay, because that's a plus.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you're going for quite a quick lunge. 11 doesn't quite get past, unfortunately. So you come down and you you kind of skid off the armor with the tranquilizer because they're very kind of bulky with their armor.
I am going
and-
to use my branches to make it very, very difficult for this person to see. So
Interesting.
effectively, their entire
You're like,
like
a
my
kind
hair,
of occluding.
my
their
hair
vision,
goes from being
yeah.
behind me to being in front of me.
Oh, nice. You've gone to bloom. Okay.
Roughly.
Okay.
And Mips tries to punch the guard of the ship if the door is still open.
Okay.
I'm just extending my arm to push.
Yeah, just
the guard.
swing and kind of sweep them out. Okay.
I want to try shooting one of the guards that's been opening fire at the ship. That's
Okay.
trying to fly away.
So
So let's get into initiative here because we had your surprise round.
Sounds about
Let's roll
right.
some initiative.
Okay. How does we initiative?
I love it. We're all like, where's initiative?
Yeah, I know. I
There's,
did the same.
there's a
thing.
button in the quick menus.
Yeah.
A6 for me.
2 for me.
4, 7, 2. Okay. And I think we're just missing Shabby in this.
I got a 6. Sorry.
It's just taking a bit to roll up. That's
Yeah.
all. Okay, so 6, 4, 7, 2, 6. I'm just going to write that down really quick.
You can use the initiative tracker in roll 20 if you want.
Oh, is there one? Ooh.
Yeah, there-
Yeah, on the
Yeah,
left-hand
there is
menu,
one.
there's an
Oh,
initiative
there's-
tracker.
It's a little clock
Hello.
Yeah.
or hourglass. I don't remember which.
Yeah.
Off top.
Ah, yes. Okay, I see that. Give me 1 second.
And then you can right. You should be
I
a button there to say add turn. That might be down the bottom of the menu.
Let's see. Right click token. Ah, okay.
Yeah, we don't
So-
have tokens, so we can't
No,
really do
but
it that way. but-
yeah.
Exactly. And at the same time, it's not that many of us.
I
so it's just
won't
like-
worry about it for now, but I will set up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like if you want for next session, I can make some tokens for us, and then we can.
Yeah, could
actually
do
have
that.
Tokens to initiative.
Yeah, I'm down for that. And let me roll. Now I gotta see. Was that a? Do we know if that was a 2d6?
It's a no.
D8 plus.
D8. Thank
it's
you.
a 1d8 plus bonus.
Okay.
I don't know what the initiative bonus is.
It seems
Is
dex.
it your dex?
Okay.
Yeah, I would say Dex. Okay. So we have that and that. Let me just write this down real quick, and then we'll get
Oof.
started. Yeah.
Ow.
Oof. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. You don't know which one that is. Yeah. I'm not. I promise I am not trying to kill you. I'm actually on your side on this
You
one.
know, it's all go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just
Yeah.
every GM ever. I'm not trying to kill
There's
you.
got to be stakes.
My characters
There's got to
are
be
trying
stakes.
to kill you.
Exactly. It's not me. It's the world.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so thanks Roll20 for closing yourself. That's lovely of you. It's okay, I got all the numbers. So you have 1 guard on the ship, and you have 3 guards on the roof still. One of them is kind of getting back up. And I should say Willem, Autumn, and the guard on the ship, you're all going to go at the same time. But before that, the guards on the ground are going to shoot at you, and we're going to roll them really quick here. Once Roll20 restarts itself, and they whiff. They whiff really hard. So
Damn.
Willem, you see a lot of shots go wide around you.
Mhm.
You hear a couple like thin pings on the hull, but you don't think anything really connected. But then we go to Ava.
Okay. Out of curiosity, how much action do I get during combat?
So,
Like-
since we haven't actually done proper combat, this is a good
Yeah,
time to
not-
quickly go over it.
Mm.
Let me jump to it very quickly here. Combat. This is on page 48 for anyone if they want to look it up at themselves. So, types of actions you can do. There are main actions, which is kind of like your general, I want to do a thing. Moves, which are moving within a space. You can run up to 10 meters. So it's kind of like your 30 feet from D&D.
Okay.
There are on-turn actions. So this is a fast, kind of simple act that you could reasonably do while you're doing something else. Dropping an object, dropping to the ground. It's like an addition to a move.
Okay.
And an instant action is something that is, it's usually listed on the ability. So some psychic actions or psychic powers are instant. There are other things that might apply to instant, but for the most part, instant will usually say.
Okay.
And you get 1 main action, 1 move action, and any amount of on-turn actions that are within reason, obviously.
Okay.
You had to like ready your item, drop to the ground, and then drop something, and then
Sure. Okay. So could I conceivably punch the door close mechanism?
Yeah, easily.
As,
That's
like,
an
a
on turn,
free sort of thing?
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Door close, first action.
Good.
And then I do kind of want to is the guy sprawled out on the ground or?
Kind of on the ground, trying to get up, but is blocked in some way by Autumn's large plumage, so to say.
Okay. If
Large
I can get
branches.
to him, I would like to just kind of put my weight on him, like put my knee on his
So like a
back
pin
of his neck.
almost.
Well, I was thinking like knee on the back of the neck, gun on the back of his head. To be
Okay.
honest. Like stay.
Okay. Roll.
Don't want to kill you, but I will.
Yeah, I'll say you can jump on them pretty quick, but I want you to roll me. Is there an intimidate or anything like that in this? I haven't seen that yet.
I don't see it.
Sorry, folks. Just want to go through this real quick and make sure I'm not skipping a move or anything.
I think it's still just a regular talk roll.
I think that's what I would go for as well. So you could use talk with, I would say, even Dex or Charisma, because you're clearly like quick on the draw at that.
Yeah.
Either that or performance, even maybe.
Oh yeah, performance I could see too.
Pushed. I'm just waiting for a thing to happen.
Cool.
There we go.
Yeah, it seems like roll 20 is a little slow today.
Yeah.
7.
That's,
Yeah. With Autumn kind of providing a blockage.
Yeah.
You're convincing enough at the moment that the guard is kind of staying put. It's clear that
he has a gun in the back of his head.
Yeah, it's clear they haven't given up, but it's also clear they're not like struggling at the moment.
Sure. I'm prepared to shoot him if he makes what I see as a threatening move.
Okay. Threatening move being something like where they're going to attack you or Autumn? Is it just
attacking or attempting to throw me off.
Okay.
My trigger's getting pulled.
Cool. I'm cool with that. So next we have Will, we have Autumn, and we have the guard. Who has the highest dex between Autumn and Will?
Mine's a 13.
Mine is a 14.
14? Okay. Will, you'll go first unless you have something you want to do right away, Autumn.
Oh, no, I'm just trying to sedate him, so that's what I'm going to try.
Cool. Will, you're being shot at.
Yes, I would like to take evasive maneuvers.
Okay. Roll me a pilot check. Oh yeah, easy peas. You not only get away from the guards shooting at you, but you notice there's a lot more fire than 3 guards could conceivably throw at you, and you actually manage to avoid the tower's point defense system as well.
Oh joy!
So there's quite a lot of fire coming at you, but you actually avoid all of it. So well done on that. Autumn, what are you doing?
I mean, he's relatively. I just want to sedate him now that I do have the tranquilizer, because I think it's better if he's knocked out.
Yeah.
I'm also, as I'm doing that, looking at Meeps, going, "You have a respiratory condition to treat."
And Rex is clearly like not necessarily in shock, but is kind of watching everything with a very measured eye on everything. It's clear that Rekus knows something of what's going on, but hasn't moved or made any comment yet.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to administer the tranquilizer.
Cool. Roll it with a +2, plus whatever you're going to use Dex, I would say.
Can I stab someone who's like right in front of me?
Yeah, it's like unless it's a crit fail, it's going to be, it's a success. I just want to see.
Okay, that's way better. That's an 18.
Nice.
Easy piece. You find the kind of mesh through the armor and you give the old stick to the pig, and the guard goes right out. Takes about a minute.
Cool.
Then we roll over to Meeps. What are you up to?
Meeps will tranquilize Rekis.
Okay. Roll me the same check. So just do a basic attack, I would say. Plus Dex.
I hope it works.
Again, in this case, you kind of have the jump on them. So 3. Okay.
Yes, that would be an arm attack, but
ooh,
yeah.
Oh, 3. That's the attack roll. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's what that's getting at. Yeah. So the 3, I'm going to say you can't quite puncture the suit. So the pressure suit that Rekis is wearing is not necessarily thick, but it's thick enough to stop your injector. Rekis kind of looks up at you in shock and is like, "What do you think you're doing?"
Applying medicine. You have respiratory problems.
Roll me a talk.
Again.
Yeah. This one, I would say you could use int if you want to use it, if it's higher than charisma.
Finally, something. 6.
That's good enough. Yeah. Yeah. Rekis is clearly wary, but opens a little, like one of their tiny little feet comes up and kind of taps a little thing on their shoulder, and a small injector port reveals itself on the back of the suit. So you can easily kind of just...
I'm applying the medicine and tranquilizer.
Okay. Let me check something here. Is there... Can you roll me a work check just for my own grim satisfaction?
Work, not heal?
Is there a heal? Because if
there is.
Yeah, roll me a heal then instead. Sorry, I totally missed that.
7.
Easy peas. Yeah.
Nice.
You did your math right, and you figured out that this dose will actually work on a Hawks and things like that. So, yeah, takes about 10 minutes for the trank to really set in on Rekis. You find it takes longer than even the stuff you were reading on said it should. So, in that interim, Luna, what are you up to? You see the ship kind of darting down and a little bit away from the tower, but there's still fire being shot at. You also notice that there are point defense turrets on the outside of the starport. There's about 3 on the side you can see.
Are the turrets shooting at the ship?
Yes.
Ooh, I'm to try to lessen the fire being shot at them. I'm trying to shoot. Luna's gonna try to shoot at some of the guards shooting at the ship.
Okay. Yeah, they're clearly on the edge of the building now, so you can get a good shot at them.
Alright.
So roll me a basic attack with that.
There's a shoot option here.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can use
Let's
the
go.
weapon.
Yeah, I think it'd be the weapon. Let me just double check on the sheet here. Yeah, if you just click on sniper rifle, it should give you an attack and damage.
Alright. And
Cool.
Not a bad shot.
Ooh, not a bad shot at all. Yeah, with that much, I'd actually say that you hit 2 of them. You trank a couple of them down. The third one clearly like goes back from the edge, and you see the gun still poking out, but they're kind of like prone on the edge of the building now.
they're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, exactly. They're like, there's clearly nothing around that could have shot them. Cool. So we'll roll back to the top. We're gonna have the guards on the roof, well, the remaining guard in the turrets, fire another salvo. Come on, D20. I believe in you. Ooh,
Yeah.
the mookiest of mooks. They have got
We got
nothing.
our low D20s last time. Now it's your turn.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Suffer.
yeah. So we roll back over.
Don't antagonize me. Might end up with a stinger in your stomach.
It's true.
Yeah.
We rigged the dice from the beginning.
So let's see. So you got Rekis sedated. You know what? I will say we're gonna have one more round where Rekis isn't quite out yet. And Rekis is gonna try and shove their weight against Autumn and Ava, kind of in a blind panic. Like they can
It's
tell
the-
something's going on.
It's the
But
guard
they're-
I'm holding, not Rekis.
No.
No.
Rekis
It's
is the
the one
the
guard
big
that made
sea
it
slug
onto-
kind of.
Yeah, it was the
Meeps.
guard that me and Autumn were holding.
Yeah,
So Rekis is not a guard.
No,
Um,
but Rekis is
try
also
to
being
stop.
sedated.
I see. Okay.
If
It's
we
two
try to
separate
stop,
people.
you need to remain calm and restrict and refrain from moving.
And Rekis is kind of screaming unintelligibly for the most part. But does anyone have an AC lower than 14?
Yes,
Mhm.
mine's 13.
So's mine.
So
Where's my AC?
we're
Oh,
gonna
yes, 13.
roll You'll both take 2 damage from Rekkas basically squishing you against the side of the ship inside.
I am so fucking squishy.
Yeah, I know. And Rekkas is big. Like, to make this clear to both the players and the audience, the hawks are probably about as tall as like a cow or other kind of mammal about that size, and roughly 2 meters long. So picture a slug about that big, and that's what just kind of bumped you into the wall.
Slug the size of cow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a big thing to have in your ship. So rolling off that, we then have Will. You are still being shot at. You're slowly getting away from the starport, but they've got decent range. What do you do?
I trust that they've got their situation set up, and I'm just avoiding getting shot out of the sky as much as possible. I'm gunning it.
Yeah, I thought Eva was ahead.
So you're right. You're right. My bad.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's all good. Yeah, Eva, you just got squished by Rekkas.
And punch.
M punch. Okay.
And punch.
Go ahead and roll me M punch. Yeah. Yeah. Easy hit.
It's just a punch skill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how much damage I deal for that, but like I
punch
just
hits
kind
is a
of
D4.
stop. D4. Okay. 1d4.
3. Yeah. That's a solid hit. I mean, it's a big slug, but it's pretty squishy underneath that that suit. So you punch Rekkas. They kind of like stagger back from you a little bit. And Will, you said you're just kind of flying away. Okay. I won't do a check for that.
Yeah.
And then Autumn.
I'd say I probably noticed that Meeps did manage to administer the tranquilizer along with everything else. So I think I'm honestly going to move towards the cockpit, sort of hoping that's going to take place because I can't take another hit like that.
Gotcha.
And mainly what I'm doing is making sure Will is okay, but I'm also keeping an eye out for any psychic attacks that might be incoming.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'm actively looking for...
You're kind of like spreading your senses out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Meeps, your patient is being uncooperative. What do you do?
Trying to restrain.
Trying to
restrain my patient's movement.
Okay.
And calm my patient down.
So you want to kind of like just get a hold of your patient?
Yes, I'm also pretty big. Not that big.
But you're roughly, if we had to go height versus length, you're probably the closest of anyone.
Yeah, I weigh over 300 pounds. So.
Yeah, you've definitely got it matched in terms of weight. So yeah, roll me. Tell you what, is there a skill for this, or is this a straight up attack? Let me just check. I would say roll me an exert, and I'll say you can use con or strength for this one. Come on, D20.
8.
8. Okay, let me just do an opposing check here real quick. A lot of people must be using this today. I put in the command about 10 seconds ago, by the way.
Oh, yikes.
Ooh. Okay.
Big oof.
Big oof. That's some big oof energy. So you don't manage to fully restrain Rekkas. You do keep Rekkas from bumping anyone else, but in the scuffle, let's see here. You're going to take 2 points of damage. Sorry, I forgot to put a -1 on that, but it is -1. So 2 damage to you through the scuffle, and you don't quite keep Rekkas contained, but you keep Rekkas from getting anyone else hurt. And we roll all the way down, I think. Let me double check here. All the way down to Luna. The turrets are still shooting at the ship, though it looks like the guard up top has given up.
Okay.
What else do you do?
Okay, questions. Is any of the window? Is there like any windows on the ship?
There's a couple in the cockpit. There's a couple on the one side where the door actually opens.
Okay. Are any of those windows open?
I would say probably not, unless anyone chose to open the windows.
I specifically closed the
side door.
so they couldn't
Yeah.
shoot in.
Ah, dang it. I was thinking I was like
Sorry.
shoot it like a
You're
bullet
like,
and then
shoot Ragus in the
Yes. Wait,
Frank from 3,000 miles.
wait, hold on.
What's up?
Is my sniper rifle powerful enough to shoot a bullet through a window?
Please don't break our windows.
No.
You think you could probably do it? Yeah.
It's for the greater good.
Please don't message.
No, it's not.
Please don't break our windows. Please don't break our windows.
It's gonna be one small little hole, okay?
Just a tiny little pilot hole.
Ships don't like holes.
Well, you're like 1,000 feet in the air. Okay, go ahead and roll me an attack.
All right.
I like your follow through on this. This is good.
All right. Let's hope this hits Rakus and not anybody else.
Oh boy.
Submit. Ah!
No.
God.
It didn't hit the window.
Damage doesn't count on this because it's a trank bolt. But okay, let me roll something. You know what? I need something that's not D20. That's not going to take ages to actually.
Please don't let this
Big
turn out
virus,
wrong. Just like, oh, it just hit the side of the ship. Nothing happened.
We'll see. We'll see what the
I
dice
don't
say.
think you're going to be that lucky.
Please, for all that is holy gods on the roll, let him get a crap roll.
It does go through the window, and it goes right next to Meeps. You hear something go, and you see, if you look around Meeps, you can actually see a fairly sizable, it's probably about 3 inches long, like trank bolt jutting out of the side of the hull inside.
I mean, hey, now you have like a tranquilizer you can use now.
Exactly, that is what I wanted to do.
Okay. So you want to take it out and then stick a Rakus.
Stop.
All right, we'll roll to your turn in a moment. Get one more shot off from the. You're just about out of range, but they've still got one kind of last salvo. That's going to be a hit.
Oh.
So, trying to roll. Let's see how bad of a hit it ended up being. Okay, so they score you. They don't hit the engines, but you can definitely hear whistling in the cabin now. It actually looks like not the door side, but the opposite wall. There is definite like damage in that side of the wall. And it's starting to affect your flight. It's not quite bad yet, but you know if you start pulling any crazy maneuvers, you might have a situation. So they've done that. Who is next here? Let me double check. Ava, what do? You hear something slam into the ship about 2 seconds after you hear something break the glass.
I guess I'm going to try and hit our friend again. Like I'm just looking to try and subdue him.
Yeah, just like knock him out. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Punch.
5.
That's a whiff. Again, the suit is surprisingly tough, at least in terms of kind of physical damage, but you just don't get any real purchase on it.
Fair enough.
Will, you got unless you wanted to do something else, Ava? Any other on turns?
I think kind of just through the thing, like Luna, that was pretty, but please try and shoot the people on the ground.
I'm trying my best. You guys are driving like maniacs.
Is that
shooting at us?
Oh God.
I tried shooting at Rekus. You guys look like you were having some trouble.
Yeah. Certainly one way to put it. Will, you're just out of range, but there's
so hearing Ava.
Yeah.
Will's first reaction is she whips. Upon finding out that Luna is shooting holes in the ship, has no choice but to assume that she's the one who put the actual hole in the ship.
Okay.
No, it wasn't at all.
Okay.
And just like kind of, we're almost out of range. Get out of dodge. Or let's turn on you, please.
Are you that bad? I broke a hole in a window? Jeez.
Stop playing roles in my ship.
Then I use you in the first place.
solitary square, and I'm gonna
Why is the rum always gone? Oh,
just keep flying, get out of range. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you won't have to make a roll for that. Not this round. But rolling on Autumn. What are you doing? Rekis is still up and is clearly still kind of agitated. Their movements are getting slower, but they're still definitely kind of wrangling.
How many tranquilizers do we have left, if any?
I would say from the ones you bought and any that you might have brought with you, I'd say you've probably got one left on your person, and Meeps, I would say, has another dose.
Okay.
There might be some in the med kits in here, but between the two of you, you've got 2 uses left.
Actually, can I see if there's a way to damage the suit to make it... Like, I don't want it to be to the point where it's dangerous, but just enough.
Right.
I suspect that that's why it's not working as
Okay.
quickly as it should, because, like, we made pretty sure those tranquilizers were good.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see if I can sort of do minor damage to it,
Okay. Yeah, I'd say so.
and then sort of dart back out of range if I can.
Yeah, roll me a fix. With plus int. Or dex, whichever you prefer. Like to give the options.
7.
7. Okay. Yeah, you do enough damage, you think, to kind of get the to get it more or less what you're getting after in terms of like getting
Like
this
to loosen the
get out of the way.
compression or something, just slightly.
Right. Get it working faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would say so. Once you do that, Rekis kind of like whips their head around to you and again is screaming unintelligibly, but looks like they're coming at you. They don't quite get to you because they're very slow at this point, but they are definitely gunning straight for you.
Can I try to like get out of the way as much as I can? Or
yeah, absolutely. How big?
No. How out of it is he? Like not movement wise, but his ability to focus.
The movements are very groggy. I'm
going to try to camouflage. I'm going to dart out of the trajectory he's on and try to meld into the wall as best as I can.
I'm cool with that. Yeah, roll me a sneak +1. It's always Tuesday in Blackfeather Guild.
8.
I love the crew kidnaps a Hawks. That's perfect.
Yeah, 8 I think would work. I'd also go with Hawks in a box. But yes, 8 absolutely. You kind of get out of the way and then you just disappear into the wall. And Rekis clearly is like not sure what's going on. With that, we roll down to Meeps. Your patient is still on the loose and is is close to being passed out, you think, but it's not just quite there.
I was already said I'm going to just jab this bigger.
Okay.
And, I mean, it's made for piercing, so I guess this will puncture the...
Yeah, you think if it can get in the hull, it should go through the suit pretty easily. So roll me an attack, +1. Actually, +2. It's a pretty big bolt. Hawks boxing the ship. Tried to steer away from that one, but yeah, we'll go with that.
Nice.
Hey!
Very nice. We getting there.
Definitely. Yeah, you go right through the suit like it's not even there.
Like knife through butter.
Definitely. Like
butter.
A couple knives through butter. And after about 10 seconds, Rekis just kind of, instead of falling, it's more like a just kind of settles into the ground. Yeah, just like a balloon,
like a souffle.
He deflates.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Just that.
So,
like,
it's
not flat,
important
obviously, but
Man, those are some very effective tranquilizers.
Yeah,
it's pretty important
they're
thing
3
because
inches long.
well, Meeps is a medic.
Yeah,
first and
that's
foremost.
also true.
And now the patient has been injected with a cocktail that was untested as combination. So Meeps will now actually care about his patient.
Okay.
Just scanner again, and we'll try, and I will take care of Rekis.
Okay.
And his vitals.
And we will say that you have definitely pressurized this cabin to kind of mimic I'll say that's something you can easily do, so I won't worry about
Is it
rolling
still
that.
pressurized with a hole in the cockpit window?
That's the real question, isn't it?
And one in the hall. Don't forget
So-
that.
It is pressurized, but the pressure is still leaking out. So
Mm.
if you stay up in the air any longer without patching it, you don't think you can
Okay.
sustain the atmosphere for longer than like maybe 4 or 5 minutes.
We need to
Um,
hide the ship anyway.
I'm gonna see if I can make some on the spot repairs. I guess
Okay, yeah, roll me a
some
fix.
minor ones. Okay.
Yeah,
This I'm good
Ava, or not Ava, Autumn, if you wanted to add to it, feel free.
Yeah,
Okay.
happily. Do I
Okay,
need to
I'll
roll for that, or?
No, we'll just say a
Okay.
+1.
+1. Modifier 1. Let's go. 13.
Easy peas. So it's not a permanent fix, but there
Maybe
is
I've
a
got
quick
some like
repair.
sealant or something.
Yeah, there's
Mm.
basically like a quick repair pack in the ship, and it's almost like a gelatin that you just kind of stick over the wall like putty.
Oh, so
and
like
that-
alien flex tape.
Yeah, exactly.
Just-
Yeah,
just
that's a
spackle.
lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage.
And that's basically what it is. You can stick it over the wall and then one over the window. Alien flex.
Maybe like
tape.
cavity foam in the
Oh god, they
in
just
the
call
wall.
it Hawks tape.
Hawks tape.
Hawks tape. Yeah, that's a common name for this fixative. I'm gonna write that down. Hawks tape.
Yeah.
So yeah, you fix it. Will you can you roll me one more pilot check just to see kind of how long it might
Yeah.
take you to find a good spot?
Go. 12.
Oh, easy.
Nice.
Takes you about a minute.
Told
and
you
a
I'm
half.
good at piloting.
I know.
Mm.
Takes you about a minute and a half, and you find a spot that's actually only kind of walking distance to the safe house. It's a
Yeah.
really common spot. It's like a recreational use area. So picture like dirt bikes, but instead of dirt bikes, it's speeders, skiffs, and other small ships.
Okay. I was also considering, if I can, radioing to someone on the crew to meet us out
Mhm.
with one of the sleds.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if you do that, by the time you get down there, you see one of the skiffs come out, and you see Tychus and Tolan or Tolus? I think it's
Tullis.
Tolus. Tychus and Tolus. They're both on the skiff, and one of them is kind of dressed up in a jumpsuit that sort of looks like a medical suit. It's
Close enough.
not great, but it looks close enough that most people
From the sky, it would probably look correct.
exactly. Yeah, most people aren't
Hmm.
batting an eye. They're just kind of like, oh, what's when you see an ambulance show up and everyone
Hmm.
starts looking around like, oh, I wonder what's happening. It's basically
Yeah.
what's
Hmm.
happening here.
Yeah.
So you land. They kind of like wave you down. What do you do? Anything special? Or you just kind of bagging and going?
So I would like to increase the. I'm not decrease the sensitivity of the scan. Do a general scan of Rekis and his suit.
Okay.
Do I have anything inside or outside that could be a locator beacon or anything like that?
Ooh, good call.
Roll
good
me a
call.
notice.
Mm.
That's a really good idea. See, I love it when people say stuff
Can we
like that because then I can
assist?
pretend that I thought of that. Yeah, one of you can assist, but you'll have to roll me a notice first.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. I
That's okay.
wrote-
Yeah, we'll just add on to it.
So do I meet up with
That's a
this
9.
Luna-
So that should give you a +1 at least. I
Yeah,
think.
I would even say you've got a +2. You've got enough time.
So 8 together.
yeah, 8
to have
total.
+2.
Sorry, go ahead, Luna.
Does Luna like meet up with them back at the safe house, or she's like still at the building? Like, is she on the
Yeah,
s-
you can either meet up with them where they're going to land or back at the safe house. You've got enough time
Oh.
between all that.
Yeah. And
I'm a
Willem
fly-
radioed you just to let you know to do that.
Yeah, you're going to fly.
fly back to the safe house to meet them there.
Okay. Let me just roll something real quick.
Please don't let Luna get caught in the air flying.
Nobody notices you flying in the air because there's clearly been a lot of shooting and commotion and some collateral damage from turrets, as happens. There's a lot of shouting going on in the city. Lots of ambulance sirens, as I can actually hear in real life too. But yeah, you do notice a small, what looks to be either a locator beacon or some kind of like, what would you call that? Like a life alert almost. Something you can kind of set off and let them know, hey, I'm in
How-
danger.
Help, I finally can't get up.
Exactly. Yeah. Help me, life alert. So you can yank that out pretty easily.
I'm sticking that to the guard.
Nice. Okay.
And then we'll eject him part of the way.
Yeah. He just.
Yeah, we'll bring him to some
Yeah.
undisclosed location.
I'll swing down low so that he'll just like roll to safety.
Okay.
All right.
So
Oh, actually.
I'm gonna push him out at full height.
Go ahead, Autumn.
Yay.
Question.
Yeah.
Do we have someone that we're a bit keen to get rid of out of the rivals on this planet? Maybe an ally of Rekis or someone where we know a location they use?
Oh, I get where you're going.
Interesting.
Because we have a guard who has potentially gone rogue.
We drop this person on their roof, pass through.
Yeah,
So,
with the
so
locator.
just so I'm clear, you're planning to kind of like set this guard up as a patsy almost.
Yeah, a sort of like a detour,
Like a
like at least
as a
make
decoy,
it
yeah.
look. Yeah, as a
Scapegoat.
detour.
Okay.
No, but at minimum to go like maybe it's one of the other rivals,
Right.
so that it's a sort of either the guard got there on their own or that person just dumped the guard.
Right. Roll me a no real quick, just to see if you
I've
know
done this
offhand
before.
anyone.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It comes in fluorescent.
Nah,
pink.
I don't. It's a 4.
No. But
Should have
you
thought of it
do know
before.
that a lot of people weren't happy about Rekis's dealings and things like that. So
Mm.
you think if you dump the guard in a reasonably populous place, it might achieve something like the same result, or at least buy you some time.
I'll
Mm,
probably talk to some of our crew members about that because I'm pretty badly injured.
That's fair.
So
Yeah,
I'll-
and since
I'll
you're
relay that
currently in
idea.
combat, if anyone wants to roll heal, since there is medical supplies, you can do that.
yeah.
I will patch everybody.
Okay, Meeps, just roll me a general heal, and we'll see kind of how much we do.
8.
8, yeah, I'd say everyone that was injured during this, you can recover 1 hit point. It's kind of just enough to staunch the bleeding and anything like that, any serious bruising. But yeah, talk to your crew, see what you want to do.
Okay. I wouldn't be adverse to just dropping him off anywhere, really. Let's just get that away from us.
Do we have any memory modifiers to just make him forget what we look like? We've used memory modifying stuff before.
You have. Let's see. I'd say you probably still have 1 dose of it, because I think you did have 3 doses total.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure we did. So might as well give that and then drop him off in a weird location somewhere.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I won't make you roll for administering that. They're out cold, so.
I'll probably
Uh,
ask Meeps to do it because again, it's their sort of area of expertise.
Yeah.
So I might as-
Yeah.
I'm not great at administering things.
Yeah, as we learned.
Thanks.
It worked eventually.
Gotta poke things where they are. So
Look,
yeah,
just-
Meeps, you can administer that pretty easily. You dump them off in a fairly public place. And yeah, like I said, you find kind of a nice area where you won't draw too much attention, offloading a patient and taking them on the skiff. Let me just see one other thing. See if there's any other hitches to your giddy up. But no, yeah, you get away scot-free as far as you can tell. No one chased you. No one really gave you too much of a second glance with the whole evac and then leading there. It seems like a lot of people are kind of either rushing to the tower or a lot of people are on rooftops kind of looking at what's going on. There's a couple of fires here and there in the city. You can see smoke columns somewhere. But yeah, you get back in. The rest of your crew is there, happily awaiting, and they start setting up a rudimentary clean room in one of the separate rooms. It's not ideal, but it'll work for the interim till they get some proper supplies.
I take it we don't have access to a cellar at all, because that might be the most useful.
That's kind of where you're in, actually, is what the
Okay.
safe room is.
Okay, fair enough.
So you've got one main room that you can kind of plan in. You've got a separate
Yep.
room for sleeping, and then one extra kind of spare room. So the spare
Sure,
room,
we'll use that for the cleaning.
exactly, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Eva, the ship. We
Mhm.
need to do something about that.
We do.
They're gonna trace that instantly. It's one of
Yeah.
theirs.
Yeah. I spend while they're setting that up, can I spend some time checking the LoJack chip and like try and disable it if I can, or
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm happy to help.
yeah, for sure.
She's better at it than I am. So.
That's totally fair, and you're learning too.
Yeah.
This is kind of your first chance to really learn how to fix and break things
Yeah.
at the same time.
Mm.
So
Sure.
roll me, both of you roll me a fix. Autumn
After you,
first if
Autumn.
you're helping.
8.
8, perfect.
Nice.
So that's a +1.
Fix. +1. Go.
Nice. Yeah,
Baby.
between the two of
What
you,
I
you
do.
actually find 9 of them.
Oh,
So 9
Jeez.
separate chips within the ship. Yeah.
Okay.
They're all of various makes as well. So it's clear this thing has been tagged. It's from what you can both figure out, it's likely that they tagged it, forgot they tagged it, tagged it
tagged it
again,
Again.
and nobody
Like
did the
every
paperwork. So it's
rotation.
like,
Yeah.
exactly. By
Good.
the 9th time it goes in, they're like, oh yeah, just slap another one on there. What's another one gonna hurt?
Mm.
I'm gonna like just run a soldering iron across each of the LoJack chips. Just
Yeah,
take
it goes.
them out.
It's pretty sparky, and
Yeah.
you hear some
Mm.
sad whirring. But yeah,
Okay, so they shouldn't be able to track us now. What do we think about disposing of this thing? Because obviously we can't have them find it. It's step 2.
Mm.
So
you do know that
Either.
you landed in. Sorry to interrupt. You know you landed in kind of a recreational use area.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We basically like are dropping it off in a Walmart parking lot. Like
Almost,
this thing
yeah,
could belong
it's-
to anyone.
It's less like a Walmart parking lot, and it's more like a how to put that? It's like a skate park for skiffs.
well,
But to
I've
put
got an idea. Let's have a look around and see if there are any just like kids and offer them a joyride. Take
Okay.
it. Go fly.
Here's the keys,
Okay.
kid.
roll me a
Keys. Go
talk.
fly.
Roll me a talk on that one.
Okay. Which stat would you like?
I
Will
would
rolls
like
up. How do you do
charisma
that,
or
kids?
int, because maybe you're not charismatic, but you could sell them on all the cool stuff that's in it.
Okay, let's give an int go. I'm not good at this.
It's okay.
That's a 2.
Oh, we're not good at this.
So
Oh.
you do manage eventually to find a group of kids. They're like early teens, so between 10 and 14. You think it's hard to tell between the races, but for the most part. But they basically say like, "Yeah, all right, clearly, like, what's the catch?"
None. Take it. Have fun. We don't need it anymore.
Nobody just gives kids a ship. Come on, who are you running from?
Running? What's that? We're fine. Just have it. A spare one.
Okay, look, you're new around here, so I'll cut you
Yeah.
a deal.
Okay.
100 credits each.
There's what? How many of them? Sorry?
5.
5 of them. 500 credits.
Wait, is anybody else near Ava?
Autumn would probably be.
Is Luna by them any chance?
You could hit them on comms if you want.
Like,
Like you're not here for this conversation.
I know, but I can like call like, hey yo, what are you guys doing?
Get rid of the
I
ship.
am still really pissed about the whole shooting the hole in the cockpit. So I'm not going to answer because I'm like one problem at a time. And right now, Eva is stumbling over herself trying to talk to kids.
If this only costs 500 credits to get rid of, fine. I'm happy to pay that out of my
Okay.
pocket. Credit chip.
Cool. So 100 credits each.
Yeah, just make it
And,
disappear. Don't ask any questions, make it disappear.
You got it, lady. Thanks very much. So they all pile in, and as soon as they get in, hearing like parts being ripped out, the engines
yeah.
like way too quickly.
Yeah, don't look at this, Willem. Don't look.
Yeah. And you hear it go like just launch off into the distance somewhere, and you hear a thud, and then you just you hear it keep going around. It's clear they're taking this thing for a demolition derby ride.
I
think that went
look
well.
at Eva and say, we could have just left it unlocked and they would have gotten there.
Yeah, but like I figure that way is better than like I didn't want to see the race between them getting to it or Hawks or Rekis' security guys finding it. We're right round the corner from our home. We can't leave them that close to us.
Let's just hope they don't remember what you look like. Or what I look like.
I think we won't be returning to this planet soon anyway.
Yeah, we're pretty much done here.
So who's going to retaliate against us? Him? And I point over to Rekis on the...
Rekis going,
Very slumpy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Slumpy McGee over here is not doing anything.
Yeah.
So you've gotten rid of the ship. You're pretty reasonably sure you've gotten rid of any tails that might have been following you. And let's see. So Biff gets in contact with you, or you get in contact with Biff, however that goes. And this time Biff seems a little less jovial. So you did the job. That's good. You know, I did. Good job on you. Nobody died. Nobody died, right?
Don't
No.
think so.
No.
No.
Okay. Well, that's
No,
I,
good.
mean,
really
I
died.
can't guarantee what's happening to the kids in this ship that we stole, but no one's directly dying because of us.
You know what? I don't want to know.
No.
Yeah, you could have left that one just so... Anyway. Yeah, no one died.
Yeah, no one did.
So, so this contact,
wink and a smile.
This Golm, you
Mhm.
you had contact me.
Yeah.
She's a real shrewd businesswoman. I don't know how she did it, but she got a whole 19% out of me.
Wow. Wow. Are you okay?
Lady has got some serious pull on that planet. I tell you what.
Are you feeling okay, Biff?
Oh, I'm great. Listen, 19% of the hottest thing on the market. I'd still punch. It's clearly like punching something in on the desk. That's like a whole 71% for me.
Poor
Yeah.
desk.
And she didn't take the full 6K that I had to offer.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, you know what? I totally forgot about it. Just keep the rest.
Cool.
Hey, money.
Willem's trying to do the math and figure out where the 10% went. He doesn't say anything. Just
Yeah, just like, what?
What?
So you got your choice between two ships, and they're both back at the starport. I've made my communications clear. We're in business. So tell you what, just go on down there. You can talk to, what was his name, Zolan Skyrer.
Zelensky.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, Zelensky, big old Hawks fellow. Well, fellow. You know how Hawks are. So yeah, just go talk to Zelensky, and they'll get you sorted.
Okay.
All right. Well, I tell you what. You know what? I might call on you again. You're a pretty good group of patters, and you know, no bloodshed. As long as this doesn't come back to me, that's all that really matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right.
Yes, no bloodshed at all. Side eyes.
No about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no bloodshed.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear. All right. I'll be wiring your payment by the end of the day. Thanks so much, everybody.
Sweet.
Welcome.
Just clicks off, kind of mid.
Great doing business with me. Great doing business with the...
Yeah.
Literally collapse at the floor like, finally it's done.
So the payment goes through. It's 50 grand since you captured Rekis, and you have 10 party members, so that's 5 grand for each since everyone pulled their weight. On top of the grand that Ava had from the extra negotiation.
I'll split that 5 grand between the 1K between
Perfect.
the 5 of us.
That is a fair amount of money. You're right, Sam. In terms of, I'm just going to pull this up real quick because this is relevant to this. Let me see if I can find it. It's kind of it's a weird spot, but it's basically how much money people will normally make. You know what? I'll look for it while we're doing this. But the money comes through. It's a fair amount of money. It's more money than most people make on a job, doing like an actual profession. So that said, you did get injured fairly sufficiently, and you were in pretty high danger. But the two ships you have access to, once you've talked to Zelensky, there are 2 ships that are in good enough condition to actually fly out on the same day. There is also the chance to upgrade them with a few mods that are available at the spaceport. And you have a bit of a fund, let's say, like a budget set aside for that. So the smaller ship obviously has less cost, so there's more money to upgrade it, but it is a smaller form factor.
It's like 10K or 10 times as much, right?
It is, yeah. For a bigger ship,
Yeah.
it's a lot more. But a bigger ship usually has much more to it in terms of size and power and things like that. But here's the descriptions of the ship. It turns out one of them, the smaller ship, is actually the one you worked on the first day you were there.
Oh.
It's known.
Oh, that old junk.
Yeah, that old junk pile. They've actually fixed it up. They've got it working. And in no small part thanks to you. Called the Steady On, although this name can be changed. This is just the previous moniker it had. Previously a courier for packages, then liquid storage, and finally a nest for local desert shrews, this old tug has had more paint jobs than an asteroid base and makes a quilt look uniform. It's still in flying shape after 40 years in service, quote unquote. However, it's been modified so many times that it's a bit smaller than usual. Some retrofitting and repairs should restore that missing mass. So mechanics-wise, what this means is there's a bit less space to install modifications until you get that repaired.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a fixer-upper. But that's the only thing that's wrong with it. It's fitted for atmospheric flight, so it can go both interstellar and planet side. Both ships have that. Both ships also have a ship's locker, which you can store kind of your general complement of weapons, armor, other equipment you might need for most extravehicular kind of activities. So it's kind of a Mary Poppins bag of things that you would reasonably have on a ship. The other ship is the Ventus, a lightly used vessel from a passing caravan fleet. The Ventus wears its history with pride. There's clear plasma scoring that's all along the hull from where it fended off scrapper pirates near the fault. Large patches of plasteel that are sloppily welded over what looks to be a hole on either side, roughly the size of a shuttle. And a worn-out power supply, fraying cables, and faulty junctions owing to many years in flight out in the void. It still runs, but it could definitely use some love and care. The problems with the ship, mechanically speaking, are its armor class is reduced by 1 because of a giant kind of sloppily covered hole on either side. The power supply is reduced by 1 due to severe wear and tear, and the hit points are reduced by 2. So these are just repairs that you could do either in flight or you could get them repaired at the spaceport for a certain amount of money. But you'll have 50K available for upgrades for the Ventus, which is a free merchant frigate. And for the Steady On, you'll have 200,000 worth of upgrades. Because the Steady On is a very kind of small ship. It does not cost as much to upgrade it. But it's also only got enough space for 6 crew. I think it's 6, it might be 10. Let me double check that. But it's small by any means.
Okay.
Have we talked about before whether the rest of the crew still would like to travel with
haven't.
us?
But that is certainly something you can ask them. I'm also just going to say if anyone wants to look at Starship stuff, it's on page 95. We can do that off stream or we can start next stream with that. It doesn't matter to me. But yeah, if you talk to the assembled crew, I would say Tolis especially would be interested in kind of carrying along with you. Tychus seems to have something to do, but could be persuaded for a bit more kind of cash. Tolis is kind of like willing to sign on without any money up front. And Fret and Weirin are interested, but they might need some coaxing. Yurt is basically like, I'm happy to go along anywhere as long as I'm getting paid. So you've got a few interested parties.
Okay, it's good to know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll have to consider our options
We will have
a
to
bit.
consider that.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I'm
Sit
excited.
awake on the subject.
Yeah.
Good. So with all that said, I'm also going to dole out experience because
Ooh, shiny.
holy hell of a crap. What a time that was.
Oh, yeah.
Heist.
Yay, we get
That
to
was
level up.
that was a heist. Yeah, I'm going to say we're going to probably do milestones to start out with. So since you pulled off your first successful job without any serious casualties, and you got Rekus alive, I'm going to say everyone gets enough XP to level up. So that should be 3 XP, I believe, for first level.
So
Yeah, we were
we're
at
at
one
We
level
already have
1
one.
now?
Oh yeah, well, like from level 1 to 2, I mean. Yeah. But yeah, and we'll also say that, so let's see, what were your rewards from this session? 3 XP, 5 grand each, plus whatever other things you gained, plus a ship. So again, I think everyone did fantastically. I think we all kind of, the first session was obviously a little rough, and that is part of my end was not giving enough info, and part of it was just everyone's kind of new to it. Everyone's new to each other. So let's go around, and I want to hear what everyone's favorite bits were, and then also tell us, who you are. We'll do that after. Let's do favorite bits first. Let's start with. Let's go back to the starting thing. Econorlax, tell me about your favorite bit.
I mean, this was a roller coaster of a session, that's for sure. I think, well, rarely something I do is my favorite part, but I loved playing Meeps, telling guards who Meeps dragged. Well, I did it. I did it to learn how your bodies work.
I really wish I'd had the Zoom chat visible when that had happened, because I heard everyone's reactions. I didn't get to see anything, so I might actually go back to watch that. Because I was sitting there like, okay, just be in character for a guard who just got told that they got drugged. That was phenomenal, though. I love that bit.
I loved the chance for being so honest.
So just absolutely childlike honesty. I loved it. Polished, what was your favorite bit?
Oh gosh, I love the sort of ups and downs of this episode. I think that's my favorite thing. Just like the tension felt real. There were times when I genuinely was like, yeah, something's going to go wrong. It's definitely going wrong now. And then, yeah. So actually being on the edge of my seat, despite it being very early in the morning.
That's definitely it.
Of my attention.
I'm glad the tension felt like it wasn't too much, but it was definitely there. Because I was sitting on the edge of my seat too for a few bits. Like, please don't let me kill them on the second session. Darkora, what was your favorite bit?
I absolutely loved Meep's experiments. That was too funny. That was amazing. I was not expecting the honesty of, it was me. Yeah, let's see what happens.
I'm really glad you kept that under wraps until it came
up. The honesty of it's not a prank.
It's just a prank, bro. It's just an experiment.
No biggie. It's cool. Just drug your friends.
It's not a prank. It's science.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone knows the difference between a prank and science is writing down the results.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Chalby, what was your favorite?
It's what I did.
Yeah.
I don't think anything could top this session. I don't think anything can top the Meeps drugging scenario.
That's fair.
That was fantastic. However, second favorite moment was actually Luna deciding, oh, shoot through the window. Close the window with a trank dart. From half a football field away.
Luna's like, fuck it, I'm gonna shoot.
Yeah. Yeet. Fuck. And I'm just gonna ask Jem. I think I know, but what was your favorite bit?
It was Luna just like deciding to like fucking all just shoot and almost hitting Muse in the head with a tranquilizer. And it was that wasn't me, that was a random bird.
Yeah, definitely
with a tranquilizer.
Yeah. The bird just came by and was like,
hey, birds can be sketchy too sometimes.
Hey, listen, some people juggle geese, okay? So Jem, tell us who you are, where we can find you next.
My name's Yellow Gem. You can find me on YouTube under that name. And I'll be making some more animations if I could get myself out of bed.
Nice. Chabi, who are you? Where can we find you next?
I am trying to learn how to type. Okay. So I'm Chabi. I go by Hallway Secrets here on Twitch, Hallway 7 Secrets over on Twitter because usernames are difficult. I am... as a hobbyist, I'm a variety streamer over on my channel. I do video games mostly. Eventually, I want to do some sort of TTRPG content, but more along the creative lines. You can find me This is really my only scheduled gig right now, but you can find me here every week. And occasionally on other channels doing one-shots of various systems. I usually post on my Twitter when those are coming up. So if you're interested, give me a follow.
Right on. Darkora.
I'm Dakora. I don't do a lot on Twitch, but you can find me here under that name, and also on Twitter at Darkora with an underscore, because again, names are awful. Yeah, I don't do a lot, but you'll be able to find me here again for the next session. And a final thing, it's my birthday in 45 minutes, so woo!
Hey!
Yay!
Oh.
Happy birthday!
Oh, I
Thank
forgot
you.
to mention, my birthday was yesterday.
Wow, double
Oh, happy
birthday
birthday to you.
happiness.
Good week.
Oh,
And mine's on
Wow.
Wednesday.
and mine's in like 4 months. Wow,
This shit was
that's
made.
awesome. Happy birthday to both
Yeah.
of you and all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Polished.
Hi, I am Polished Cryptid. I did get my first pick at usernames on Twitch and Twitter, so that's where you can find me under. Do heaps of role-playing stuff. Over on my channel, we are currently planning for the next sort of big campaign that we hope to get off the grounds. And in the meantime, we've got a Bloodborne-style D&D game happening on Friday evenings Australian time. So yeah, heaps to look forward to.
Right on. And Econorlax.
Well, I'm Econorlax. You can find me under this name on Twitter also. Likewise, it was not taken. And I'm doing mostly TTRPG stuff here on Blackfeather Guild. And you will see me next on Tuesday.
I thought it was always Tuesday.
But today's Tuesday.
I mean, well,
Every
guess
day
we're
is
here.
Tuesday.
On the
Well,
Tuesday,
characters-
that's in 3 days.
yes.
Okay.
Right.
I
Ah,
think so.
The second
Tuesday plus
Tuesday.
3.
And I am Jay. I do a lot of GMing and role playing and other things like that. You can find me here on Twitch and on Twitter at AlienJays, because names again are hard and nobody likes to recycle them. You can find me here in 3 hours roughly for a game of space where we don't actually know what's going on. We forgot who we were. Other than that, you can find me on
So
Tuesdays.
that's like this game almost.
Yeah, kind of. You can find me
Except that we know who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
It's
Barely.
kind of like swap between the two. I like it.
Yeah.
It's always Tuesday on the Blackfeather Guild. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for coming out. Raven, off to you.
Hello, that was such a great game. Really enjoyed watching that, and I rather enjoyed the no, don't shoot out the window, don't shoot out the window moment. That was pretty good. But yeah, like it was said, we'll be back in about 2 hours and 40 minutes, 7 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for Animus Absentis. It's a fundamental RPG sci-fi, where the cast has no memory of their past life. They still have all their skills. They know how to do things and all that. They just have no sense of their past identity or memories, and they're trying to figure out what the hell they're doing. So it's going to be great. Last week they just figured out that maybe they might actually have been the bad guys, and they're kind of processing that information. So definitely swing on back by for that. In the meantime, though, we're going to go on a quick raid. We're going to go raid, make sure they're still on. Yep. We're going to go raid the Onyx Path. We just ran a one-shot of one of their systems recently called They Came From Beneath the Sea. So we're going to go say hi to him. Go give him a follow if you're not doing so already. And I will see you all back in just under 3 hours. Bye.